Record. Hey, everybody, this is a Podcastforwe, a podcast for us, as well as a podcast for you. I'm your host, K-Dog. We got our co-host over there, Eber. And,
What's up?
Evil Maximus, and I'm the man. Actually, I'm K-Dog, but what the fuck ever. So, as of now, you guys have fires going on in California. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it's further north and it's Los Angeles, and we don't really care about Los Angeles and San Diego. So,
Yeah,
no.
it's weird too.
Last I checked, it was like 0% contained.
Yeah, 20,000.
Early start to the fire season.
Yeah, and especially with COVID, I wonder how that works out.
All the poor brown people's houses are going to burn down first, or at a higher rate.
It just depends on where it's at, because it's on rural areas, right?
Actually, with these forest fires, it's actually upper class that gets burned because they're building their houses out there.
Yeah, further away from the populace.
And notice how much money gets spent on putting those fires out, and how many people's lives they put in the way to save them rich people's homes.
Yeah, it's weird too, because so they evacuate, right? And so where do the people go? Mostly they go in like a stadium or close court.
Well, then you get state of emergencies being called, and then the government pays for their hotel rooms and stuff.
So you think they're just in a hotel? Well, that's still bad, right?
It still sucks, but I mean, all their places are insured too. It's not like if National City caught on fire. If National City caught on fire, then you have a lot of people, like that are shit out of luck. But all them people out there, they don't build their houses and not.
Can you see your screen?
Sorry?
Can you see your screen?
Yeah, it looks like I'm glowing. Oh, the sun's in it. Sorry.
I was like, he's dying?
This is a ray of sun kind of going, like just lifting up in the heaven.
Because I'll connect it to the TV, like the high quality TV. So I'm looking at it like I'm like, what the fuck is that, an artifact? I don't know.
My bad.
Oh, Bella don't like that shit.
Nope. Hey, cut it out. Oh, there's penguins on the TV right now, so she's pissed. There, it's a river. Shut up.
No, but you got close quarters and shit in the hotel rooms, man. Maybe COVID will go up a little.
I see what you're saying. You're talking about how that'll compound the COVID issue.
Yeah, there's fires every year. The only difference is we got this COVID, which really spreads in indoors as opposed to outdoors.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd have to look at numbers to be sure, but I think common sense would dictate that fewer people are displaced by forest fires than, say, like a hurricane or something,
I hear.
Yeah, it'd be an issue, and plus a lot of the hotels are empty right now anyhow, so finding places for them in, I think that's gonna be an issue.
That's such a trippy thing with the COVID-19 with the small spaces. That's why they emptied the dorms out of the colleges.
Well, at my school, they're running at like half staff on alternating days, so we don't have kids in yet. We started school yesterday.
Oh yeah.
So we don't have kids in yet, but half of the office staff is there one day, and then the other half comes in the next day. And the half that's not there is working from home. Which is kind of trippy, but okay.
So it's completely online though, right?
The schooling is happening completely online, and it is a cluster. But it's a mess. It's bad. It's bad. We're using Google Classroom. I'm not going to become an advocate of Google Classroom anytime soon.
Because you like the other one that's college oriented.
I like the Canvas one. Yeah, I mean, if it's good enough for college or university, hello.
Yeah. Why do they go? Oh, because they can get more laptops out to the kids or some shit. Money. Yeah, it's cheap. It's free, I think. Right.
Google Classroom is not free. You still have the licenses, but it's part of the Google suite. So we use like Google Drive, Docs, Sheets, Forms. And since we use all of those, Google Classroom is part of that package that we bought. So they were like, well, we have Canvas and we have access to Google Classrooms, which can serve, for an online platform. Let's just go to that. But we're running into so many issues right now. So let's say, okay, you give me a code. You gave me a code to join this Zoom meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I send out these codes for a Zoom meeting tomorrow to students that are relying on that code for their education.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zoom just decides, hey, fuck you guys. We're going to change the code on you. That's what happened. So a lot of our kids couldn't get into our classrooms because the code changed. We didn't get a notification that the code changed or that it got disabled at all. And so we're right there waiting for our kids and nobody's showing up. I have a classroom of 27, 9 showed up. Another classroom of 35, 19 showed up. And it looks like it's been about half across the board. Well, yesterday was about a third. Today was about half. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Are
But
laptops from the school, like the school gave laptops, or
so the district the district did this thing where they distributed laptops and computers over the course of 3 days. They got slammed on the first day because I guess people didn't read their emails right. So everybody showed up the first day. So the lines were going like around the block and down the street and across intersections, and it even came out on the news. You know how bad the traffic was because they were trying to distribute iPads and laptops, and not everybody got their technology. So some of the things that I was doing today was helping parents get in touch with IT, so that I volunteered my time. I went and I went and kind of helped take phone calls and stuff to help parents get onboarded. They have to make appointments with IT to go and pick up the technology and get the codes that they need to activate it. And it's gonna take time.
when does the actual course start? August or after August?
No, we started yesterday.
I mean, fuck shit, like the actual school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I was trying to get my students in to their classrooms yesterday and didn't realize that a lot of them didn't have their codes. If they didn't use the code on Sunday when I gave it to them and they tried using it yesterday in the morning to join, they were SOL.
So fucking, you're starting your class already? Like, is it 8 hours or like?
It's block. I don't know if you remember block from high school. So you have 3 classes on one day, then the other 3 classes the next day, and then it alternates. So Mondays, Wednesdays, I'm going to have one set of classes. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm going to have a different set of classes. Hey, al cuarto. I thought so.
So like, how many hours a day are you doing actual teaching?
So we have advisory, which is like homeroom, and then we have 3 periods a day. Each period is 90 minutes long. We're giving 45 minutes of instruction with a 45-minute time for the students to do whatever activity we taught them how to do in the first 45 minutes. So the first 45 minutes is you teach them a skill, and then the second 45 minutes is they practice that skill. And you stay online. You know, the teachers stay online. The students can leave, but the teachers are expected to stay so that the students can come back and ask questions if they have them. That's worked out. But I mean, the only skill I was able to practice yesterday was, okay, download this app, then go to this classroom and download the document and open it with that app. And about half my kids were able to do that. So, and again, half of the kids that showed up were able to do that, which means any more kids that show up tomorrow, I'm going to have to go over the same damn thing. So that's what it's going to be like these first, I would probably say the first 2-3 weeks is just going to be how to navigate the classroom.
And then you're just going through the motions of the shit show.
We have to. If we'd have used the platform that we had last year, this would have been a lot simpler because we already had job aids, instructional videos. We'd already made a bunch of mistakes. We knew what the pitfalls were. We knew what the student side of the interface looked like. Google Classroom doesn't let you see what it looks like on the other end. So like I can't preview it as a student would, not even if I make an account and join the class as a student. It won't let me do that. It says, oh no, you're using a teacher account. You can only see it as a teacher. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Let me see what my kids see so that I know if I need to change a setting or something. And it's just not as robust. It's just not as robust. Google Classroom was meant as like an add-on. Like if you had a class, a physical class, and you wanted to give them documents and stuff, you can do that teaching through Google Classroom. The way it's built and set up, there's no way that this was meant to be a purely online platform. But we're trying it, and it's stupid.
You know what's cool about these talks that we're having? A lot of people are talking, shooting shit and stuff like that. They're all having their own podcasts. Everyone's having their midlife crisis and shit like that. But here we are. We're getting firsthand knowledge about it's boots on the ground. Like you got that school aspect that most people don't even get. Like, I mean, like literally, you're not talking from a, like I read some shit and I'm speaking about it. Like you are fucking there, and this is it, guys. This is what COVID-19 is for future generations. When they go back on YouTube, and they want to learn about what the fuck this time was.
Well, it's not just that. I'm working with, Title I kids, which means that the school is mostly 75%. Well, ours, in our case, it's 75% of the kids qualify for free or reduced price lunch.
What he means, kids, is poor kids. That's what he's trying to say without saying it.
And so those are the ones that are being the most affected right now, because the ones whose parents, went to universities and are doctors and lawyers and cops, and they got their own businesses and stuff, they can navigate this stuff. They can figure it out, you know, and they can be there to help their kids figure it out.
But you're getting,
I know, and I'm not bashing on them for having, having succeeded and made the right choices and taking care of their shit, but we're leaving behind the kids that don't have those parents that were able to, either they got screwed over, something happened to them, or maybe they made poor decisions, and it's through no fault of the child that they're in this situation.
It's also where you live. Like if you live in that zip code, you got to go there, or or you're going to another school, which is literally the same. I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, like you live in a rural area anyways. I mean, well, not rural, but I mean, like it's poor, dude. I mean, like that's a lot of schools in San Diego, the place we grew up in. There's only like few schools that are like, the shit, but most of the schools are poor, and that's just the way San Diego is, man. They just kind of, I don't know, they work on their beachfront properties and raise taxes. And
it's funny because, I mean, really, until I started watching the news as I got older, I started to notice that the news really pays attention to if crime happens and it happens in one of the better neighborhoods, it makes the news. But if it was shit that went down in Chula Vista or National City, unless it was like, like 10 people got killed at once or something like that, you wouldn't hear about it. Or unless like somebody from Coronado got shot in Chula Vista or National City or something, it didn't make the news.
I don't know. I live here in Vicksburg, and most of the brunt of the news is always like local news. I'm talking about is usually like the ghetto areas, someone murdered. It's always like every day someone gets killed in these ghetto areas. And I do remember watching news in San Diego, Fox News, not Fox, like Fox News, but Fox.
You're talking about the local affiliate news.
Yeah, the local news, and they would always talk about someone dying in National City or some fucking place, or El Cajon. Yeah, they would. I mean, like I'm pretty.
El Cajon, yeah. National City feels like particularly evil, but like.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what. Hey, man, if it bleeds, it leads. I mean, like if people are dying, that they're all about that. So like, you never get news like blind kid can see, or some kid discovered some science, or some fucking poor kid makes it somewhere. I never saw that kind of news. I always saw someone dead, or fucking this like Tacos El Gordo, another gang fight or some shit like that. God, I miss Tacos El Gordo.
Speaking of sensational news, did you see that explosion in Beirut?
Hey, get this. I was gonna bring that. That's in my queue to bring that shit up. What
okay, I've been working all day. I haven't stopped working, dude. I we started late because I've just been emailing and just doing this shit online, and it's fucking frustrating because it's like a 30-second answer that turns into like a 10-minute thing because we're working remotely, right?
Yeah, that makes it worse.
Dude, I don't think I've ever seen a video of an explosion like that in a city.
Yeah.
Like you see explosions with the shockwave and all that stuff, and you don't get a sense of the scale or the speed of it, really.
Well, I've seen 2 explosions in my lifetime at that nature. 9/11, of course.
Oh, yeah, you.
And the second, well, no, I mean on the news. I'm talking about
right, okay.
9/11, seen that. And then also there was some explosion in the desert, and I saw that on a YouTube video. And it was a huge pile of fire. This is fucking crazy. I didn't, I've been working too all day. But when I was doing research for this fucking pod, I didn't know the world caught on fire. But like it's weird too, because like on the news you got a little bit of this. It's not as big as Trump saying something. It just isn't. But like all I got is mixed number. It's funny too because my first figure was 78 people dead, hundreds injured. And like news articles that are 30 minutes ago, they're saying like 50 people dead. So the first number I saw was 78. So I don't understand why some of the news has fluctuating deaths.
I think if you check the timestamps on those articles,
Yeah. Well, they say 34 minutes ago or some shit like that.
Oh, well, it might have been updated 34 minutes ago, but it still has like elements of it from before.
Yeah.
Because I saw one, it was 50, then 60, then 70, and then somebody said almost 80. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes into multiple hundreds because those two buildings are gone.
Yeah, dude, the whole city almost looks fucked up. That whole port's fucked up. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
There was one video. It was just I guess something had already exploded or something was already burning.
Yeah,
and then I guess it got to like a cache of ammunition that they had seized and I guess never thought to dispose of. And
here, let me share the screen. I got this queued up. Let me for our viewers here. Share. Bam. And boom. Share. Look at this fucking shit right here. That's like it almost looks like a city. And like, it's really just a port that went down, like this whole area. This is a injured area right here. But I mean, I couldn't find any information on why this shit went down. Look at this shit. It looks like a fucking a shanty town with this whole fucking area.
Yeah, looks like fucking District 9.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. And you just got more video of that. But most shit you can't really. I looked into it to see what happened. Like the best I got was there were some tensions from assassination, but that in 2005. And I guess the UN is going to do some sanctions in that area. But I don't know, man. That shit's all foreign to me.
Yeah. And then Trump said that it was a bomb.
Right.
Who knows? But damn, that sucks.
Dude, it was like 4,000 hurt, and 80, dead.
Well, and then this is one of those ones where you don't just count the dead because the wounded are like missing body parts.
And the wounded are also going to die.
Or they're critical.
80 dead, and then they still have to find people, and those wounded, however that filters out, and that's about it, really, on that news story. I mean, like, nobody knows what happened. No one's claiming it. They're saying it's a bomb. Obviously, it looks like a bomb. I mean, like, I can't see that being an accident. It looks like a bomb, and then other shit blew up afterwards.
Right.
It decimated that whole area. It's fucking crazy. And like, it's funny too, because like, not funny, but I didn't even know this shit was happening. Honestly, I get home, we committed to the podcast around, like, for me, it was like 6-7 o'clock. I'm looking at the news and my kid's telling me about it. So my wife was crying and shit. And I was like, fuck, dude, that shit's hard, man. Yeah. And what sucks is that this shit happens so much that I'm just like, I mean, I don't think human beings were meant to have so much information at their disposal.
Yeah, it starts becoming a question of, is it happening? Are bad things happening more, or are we just the world just a smaller place to where we're able to notice more of it now?
Yeah.
And again, I mean, we talked about this last time too. This idea of 2020, us having this perfect vision now, or more clear vision, really, not perfect, but better vision of what's going on around us.
Yeah.
Is there more racism now, or more cops, killing, minorities now, or has this always been the case and we're just more able to share the event with more people now?
Well, I have to say, when it comes to violence and how the world is, I think it's supposed to have been gotten better, because you don't have the dark ages, you don't have fucking slavery in America.
Have you seen The Old Guard?
Yeah, well, fucking random. What is it? Have you seen The Old Guard?
I watched it twice, man.
Twice.
I thought that movie was that good, dude.
Let's talk about it then. Let's review this fucking thing.
Well, because because we were you reminded me of it when you were talking about it right now. And it was something I wanted to bring up later, anyways. But
I remind you, shit.
Huh?
I didn't say shit.
No. Well, you're saying, that violence, is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is there more of it, or is it less of it?
Get it?
And
Yeah.
And in the Old Guard, they kind of spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the Old Guard yet, skip forward to whatever minute Kevin decides to.
If you're watching this fucking podcast, sucks, right? Because we're gonna talk out of the movie because it's what we're gonna.
So the Old Guard, it's a group. They're a mercenary group, kind of, because they're not working so much for money. Really, the money is to keep funding their operation. But they're almost like celestial being. They wanna do the right thing, but they're kind of dictating what they think is the right thing.
It's cool. They chose the path of helping out, right? I mean,
yes.
Why?
And the main character, co-main character, whatever, protagonist, she kind of starts looking back on the work that they're doing and wondering if they've even made a difference. And is the world becoming a worse place or a better place? And as it starts to get smaller, it starts to become more difficult to see the good that you're doing because you're getting drowned out by all the evil in the world. And she laments that we're not helping. The world's getting worse. But again, the whole idea of the thing is that when you do good, you don't always see the good that you're doing because you don't get to see what comes out of that good later on.
Which they do in the movie.
Yeah, I'm staying like medium vague, but yeah, they do in the movie. Dude, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of YouTubers that are still crapping on like Rise of Skywalker and the big thing that the people that are hating on The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker can't handle strong female characters. Fuck, man. I thought Charlize Theron's character was awesome.
I thought it was good too. I did.
Well, she was a leader. I mean, those dudes followed her. She didn't have to be an asshole to them. When she did, it was like a camaraderie type of asshole. It wasn't like a putting them down type of thing. If there was a betrayal,
yeah.
If there was a betrayal, it was real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dude, when she gets betrayed, and she's yelling like, "Why? Because she's trusted this dude for so long."
Why did he betray? Oh, because they can do the genetic testing.
Yes, and it was actually something that she wanted too, but they didn't. You get a little bit out of it in the beginning. In the beginning, she's doing narration, right? But she says, that she's starting to get tired of it, right? The life that they're living. And Booker, her homie, he's like, "Hey, this guy can help us. We've talked about this. He can help us end it." And Booker's motivations are really good. He outlived his children, and not only that, his children hated him for that. So he felt that guilt of, what, the natural order is you have kids, you leave, and then they live on as your legacy. This is backwards, and my kids hated me for it. And you see, and the dude acted it really good because he's talking to Niall. She's the new girl, and he's telling Niall, this whole story about his son and how his son was sick, but his son knew that his father had this gift and didn't want to share it with him. And he says, you'll see the despair and the hate in their eyes, and you'll know you're truly alone. So he doesn't want to be alone anymore. He wants to die. And he also doesn't want to be in that position like their homegirl was that got locked up in that metal box.
Yeah.
That's almost worse than death, right?
Most definitely. What? They kind of glossed over some points. Like, so can they have kids? Or so they should have kids upon kids upon kids.
Yeah, there should be like family trees that branch off from them. Yeah.
Like in 100 years, you have another group family. You know what I mean? Just fuck every 100 years. You know what I mean? So you should have like families and families and families of different generations and shit. You know what I mean? All around the world.
They could.
I mean,
there's one part where they talk about Andromache, Andy, and he says, here, her daughter, ends up, finding the cure for this or that. I don't know if they meant like somebody that she saved had a daughter that had a cure, or if Andromache had a daughter who went on to like develop a cure for something.
Yeah, it was super.
Sorry?
Well, so it was vague. So the story goes like this: you got these immortal people, and they didn't really flesh over why they do it, but they choose to try to do good, right? And they get a new recruit, and at the same time, there's the villains are a pharmaceutical company, and there's betrayal, and they end up taking out the pharmaceutical company, or they don't. They just take out the main guy who owns it, and they move on. But then they find the CIA guy who was the enemy is now their friend, and he's going to find the missions that will maximize killing bad guys.
That was something else that I liked too.
That's
I was thinking, oh man, they got to go kill that guy.
Yeah.
They got to Miles Dyson that dude.
Well, no, it's cool because he was like the sympathetic villain.
Yeah. He had his motivations. He was like, you know what, I want to prevent what happened to my wife. But here, now they actually kind of give him an opportunity, not only to atone for that sin that he committed when he betrayed them, but also, or when he turned them in, but also, the ability to make a difference in other people's lives going forward.
Yeah, but because that was cool. He wanted to do. That's what he wanted to do.
That really is what he wanted to do.
All right, let's go through the characters real quick. I liked, of course, was it Charlene?
Charlize Theron.
Charlene Theron? I can't say her name. I liked her a lot, abundantly. I like the idea of a ancient fucking Themyscirian, goddess, just fucking shit up and just being a badass. I kind of like that. I didn't like how they kind of vaguely said she's dying, or like the quick this is when it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
But I liked her a lot. I liked the gay guys, those two guys. At first I didn't like it because I was like this shit is fucking too woke.
They're being woke. Yeah.
But they made it beautiful when
they did.
This isn't just a boyfriend. I've known him for hundreds of years. I mean, words couldn't be put into place on how much I love this guy. And I thought, wow, the magnitude of that, like it's one thing to fuck, right? But like hundreds of years of just being together with this one guy.
It humanizes them.
Oh, because it makes it ethereal. It's like, it's something you couldn't believe. Like
it transcends, a lot of the ideas that we have about, like same sexes and this and that, because it was like, man, I wish somebody would say that shit about me.
Yeah. When he said that, I was like, that's truly magical. Like, if you think about it, like to love someone for more than hundreds of years. And so when you have this, 80 or 40-year-old or whatever soldier, however old that soldier is, and he says, it was your boyfriend. Those words pale in comparison to what this guy means to what they mean to each other, because they've been together forever. Not forever, but fucking longer than.
And they started out hating each other.
Yes,
because they were on opposite sides of the Crusades.
Yes,
they started out hating each other. They had killed each other multiple times.
Yeah,
and ended up falling in love.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
I thought it was really good. At first I was kind of like, oh, they put gay guys in here. What, they're trying to be woke or whatever. But then it was like, it was just a relationship. It was just.
It was beautiful. And it's funny too, because when it's a guy and a girl, I don't know. It's like it's been played out, and then you just kind of like, But for some reason with these two guys, I mean, the way they were trying to be woke, but they inadvertently did something great with this story. They made it like it. I don't know. It was magical. Like,
well, I don't think they were being over woke.
No, they were. I think they were trying, but they accidentally went they
accidentally did it right.
They did it right. They actually did it right. Like, it was like, usually when they put like a gay couple in, and I'm just like, you're pushing. Like, okay, for instance, I watched the Umbrella Academy, the second season, and so you have the straight chick. Then because it's played by a lesbian chick, she then becomes lesbian in season 2 because that's the thing to do. And I was just like, wait, there was no clue to this. They just did that. So in season 1, straight. Season 2, she's lesbian. And I know this for a fact. Usually when you turn the straight chick into a lesbian, usually that's what they do. That's it. It's not like they're bi. They stay lesbian because that's the checkmate, and that's the way it is. If they really wanted to place her as bi, season 3 she gets with a dude. They won't do that.
In this movie, it felt organic. It felt right.
Yes.
If I felt kind of weirded out at the beginning, and it's probably still the bias that I have, in me. But yeah, when that dude, and you cited the scene that really turned me on the whole thing, when he confesses and when he defines it, he says, "You are a child.
Yeah.
This man is more." And it was just like,
Yeah, dude. Like if it was a guy girl, for some reason, if it was a guy girl dynamic, I would have been like, okay. But the way this dude's put it down, I was like, I am all in, dude. Yes.
and I like too. There was opportunity to make it light. It wasn't at their expense. It wasn't making fun of them, but it was making fun of the insecurities of the guys around them.
Mm-hmm.
Because those dudes right away said, "This fucking thing is filling up with gayness. We need to break them up," and then they pull them apart.
Yeah,
but they do it in kind of a funny way.
See them when they did that too. I thought that was played out too. Like, I mean,
no, I liked it because I was like, you know what? It's funny because it shows the insecurities of the soldiers that were there.
I know, but I find that to be fake. I don't know.
Huh?
I find that to be fake. Like it's like, oh yeah, of course everyone's anti-gay, and like that's why we have to have this.
Not everyone, but these guys were being assholes, and you kind of you have to not like those people anyways because they end up getting killed.
I know, but like I'm sick and tired of this whole like people are homophobic kind of bullshit. That shit is gone, dude. I mean, like it does exist. I think it does exist. I'm not gonna lie. That shit's played out though in media, and just the anti-gay guy, bad guy. I'm just like, this is played out in my head. So like when you do that, it's just fucking, well, believe it or not, I mean, villains could just be villains,
Yeah, you're right. But it could also be that just this group of guys were like way too, bro code and said, no, we need to break this shit up.
I've been around a lot of fucked up people in my time. Not many are like anti-gay. You know what I mean? Like they're fucked up individuals. They're just not anti-gay. That exists. I agree. I'm allowing for that. I'm just saying, like, it's not that many. It's just not a thing. I've been around. I'm just saying. That's a
could be this group of guys.
Yeah, like the odds of that. Like I could see the one guy, maybe like that guy. Yeah.
What'd you think of Niall?
Which one was that?
The black girl, the main girl, the new girl.
Okay, yeah. So I saw her as Token, and she wasn't that great of an actress, and I get it. They put her for fucking social justice. I get it. This, one thing I got out of it though, because my eyes are tuned to this whole woke movement. Okay, so there's a guy, her dad, and then her mother, right? So her dad is in the military, and then he dies, but it's all about the mom. So I mean, like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, are we honoring the dad? No, he was an afterthought. Yeah, my dad was in the military, so I joined the military. But my mom was a fighter because, she had to do everything on her own because my dad died. And, and then Charlene kind of pushes the point home and says, yeah, you come from fighters.
You come from fighters. You come from warriors.
They more about the mom than the dad because he was, it was like one sentence and then they move forward on the mom.
Yeah, but Niall, I mean, as a character, I don't think she played it right. I don't know, dude. It felt like she was in one of those straight to Redbox movies, where the acting is just like cliched, and kind of overacted sometimes. And
it's hard because that character itself was, okay, here's another thing. Okay, spoiler, but okay, so you're in the military, right? And you fought through adversity, together. You struggled together, and if your homeboy or homegirl were to come back from the dead, you would not alienate that person.
I thought that was bullshit too.
I was like, oh, so everyone's just anti-her?
I thought that was total bullshit too. And I don't know. I mean, I've been around military. I've been on base. I've seen interactions. When somebody calls somebody over, do they say, "Sir, yes, sir," and then they run over? And do they still act like they do when they were in basic training?
Nobody does that. That's just fucking generic writing.
That was my problem with it. When she was like, when at the very beginning, when she gets called over, it's like, "Hey, I need you to go check out that thing. It's right there at that door and to the left." She was like, "Sir, yes, sir, on it, sir." And then she was like, "Go." It felt too like she's not in training anymore. Yeah. I don't think people that are out there and they got each other's backs are that uptight about that type of protocol.
They
You
should.
know,
I feel like they should have had a consultant, and if they did, they should fire that fucking person because, like, you will say shit like "Roger that," affirmative, negative, things like that because it's easier to say from far away, so no and yeah doesn't get confused,
right?
or nah, or some shit like that. So use affirmative, shut instead of close, things like that. But like, sir, yes, sir, and fucking in that fucking environment now. And then if your fucking homie came back from the dead, it would be legendary. Like that person's awesome. Not, well, fuck that person. Everyone else died, but not this. Fuck that, dude. That's bullshit. I'm like,
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
you didn't have real friends then at that point. I mean, like, if you're struggling with somebody, chances are they can't do no bad. I mean, you pray each other.
Her best acting, I think my favorite scene of hers is when she gets her neck sliced and she's on the floor dying.
Yeah, that looked real.
I know, that looked real, dude. And I watched it twice and I knew that she was going to come back. I knew she was going to survive. And both times I was like, man, that's hardcore. Yeah. But after that, it was all down.
And she was such a good fighter. So you fought somebody who's been 1,000 years fighting, who probably invented martial arts, and she could take it to her. Like, I mean,
she didn't take it to her because when Andy says, "Okay, we're done," and she wants to keep going, she pops her fucking elbow out, and then she break her own leg.
Yeah, I know. But like, she shouldn't have a ghost of a chance. It should have been like
She was fucking with her. She didn't have a ghost of a chance.
Yeah,
because when Andy decided it was over, it was over.
Yeah.
She didn't have a ghost of it. She was just fucking with her. And Andy, you could see it in Charlize's face too. She's like enjoying it. She's like, hey, let's practice. She was enjoying because she was seeing potential there. But really, when she said, okay, we're done, we're done. It was like if Adrian put his foot down and said, okay, we're done playing Tekken now. And we said, no, I could beat you. Then fuck that. Then he beat his asses for 100 times in a row.
Well, so all in all, what do you think what would you give the story?
You know what? It felt original and familiar. It had some of the tropes that you expect, but it also had these. I fully expected the twist with Booker betraying them. I totally expected it, right?
Yeah.
Early on, I said the gay guys aren't gonna betray her. This Booker guy, he seems kind of weird. He was left on the chair, when they did the raid, so he's probably the one that's been, like ratting him out. What I didn't expect was that they would still accept him in a way, and that he wasn't doing it for like, what's the stock reason? Oh, well, I'd rather, reign in hell than serve in heaven. I'll be with these guys and I'll have power and I'll have money and I'll be able to influence things.
Yeah.
Well, his thing was, this is an answer to something that we've been trying to do for a long time.
Yeah.
Without getting fucking buried in the ocean with the box.
But
so for me, I really, really enjoyed the story and the direction it was going. I mean, I'd have to put it up there like an 8.
What do you think about the villain, though? The main villain, the pharmaceutical guy.
He was kind of like a stock villain.
Yeah, he was like, I want to be like Lex Luthor of
but he wasn't as stupid as Lex Luthor, and he felt scary because when he takes his knife and he starts stabbing that dude, out of nowhere, I was like, oh, this guy's fucked up. You got that sadism, sense from him, but at the same time, it was like, it still felt kind of stock. If I'd have seen more of his backstory, the reasons beyond just money and greed, then maybe I would have had a more nuanced, sense for this guy. But no, guy wants money, guy wants power.
You know what I wanted? Like a plot twist, like if one of them cut, like if they cut, the betrayer guy, if they cut his head off and lightning starts spitting out. And then Charlie was like, ah, and then they're like, here we are.
Oh, you know what I didn't like? The music when they would start fighting.
Yeah, the music was terrible. And I would give that. Well, let's say
I mean, the music was okay, but it was like every time there was going to be an action scene, it turned into like a wannabe music video-ish kind of like trying to do what Evanescence did with Daredevil, Bring Me to Life. Where she's practicing her size and shit. Yeah. I was like, no, the song was awesome back then, but the scene with the song was not.
It was generic. It was like the 90s. What do you give the music then? A 5?
The music was enough. No, I'll give the music a. No, I wouldn't go that low. I'll give the music a 6.
It was unrememberable.
It was unremarkable, but it worked at the time. You know, I was in the scene, and you know, remember, but thinking back, like there was no themes or anything that I took away from it.
I gave the story a 7 because of the villain. Really, I mean, the story was good. I liked Themyscirian. I liked the Iron Maiden. I thought that was pretty tight.
Dude,
the violence that lady's gonna inflict. She must be out of her mind crazy, you know.
and she's drinking water too when you see her again.
Yeah.
I thought the lady'd be like, "Fuck no."
Yeah, she'd just be drinking fire. Fuck water.
Does she even know how to drink water? She was like,
That's all she drinks.
it goes back to life.
Fish take on her. I mean, like, I don't get how she's alive in the sense that they get blown away, they come back, and they're eventually just like about to die. But she is in the constant state of dying. You know what I mean? So
500 years.
Yeah. So like, wait a minute. Wait, you've been dying for 5? Like, why? How come you're immortal still? You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. How come her time hadn't run out?
Yeah. But whatever, man. It was fucking tight. I thought that was cool. I liked it. I liked the characters.
I thought it was good too. The only thing I didn't like when they drop her in the water, there's a super fake splash that comes up. I'm like, you shouldn't have just even added that. It looks so dumb.
I guess.
So dumb.
Were you engaged watching this 1 to 10?
The whole time.
Fuck yeah.
The whole time, dude. There was never a time where I was like, probably take a break. I didn't want to take a break. I could have paused it, but no. Sound quality was good. It was on Netflix. I got Atmos and HDR out of it. So it looked awesome, sounded awesome. And yeah, I was there, man, the whole time.
What number would you give the engagement? You can't say 10.
Yeah, I can't say 10. Shit. But
it was really good.
It was really good. I'd say 8, but like if we could put like a decimal on the 8, 8.5.
8.5, we can do that. 8.5. I gave it an 8. I thought it was good. How about the rewatchability? Now this is
I watched it again, man. Enjoyed watching it again because you learn things about them as the movie goes, and once you get to the end, you know everything. So you go and watch it again, and you start to pick up on things, again that maybe you didn't pick up on the first time.
So this is 120. What are you giving it?
Well, we give it a scale of 10, right? Rewatchability.
10.
I probably won't watch it again.
You watched it twice.
I think 2 was good enough for me.
Yeah.
I might watch it maybe again when the next one comes out.
But 2 is more than 1. You know what I mean?
2 is more than 1.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it is rewatchable.
Rewatchability, I'd give it a 7.
So I'm going to give it a 7.7.
Because, like, Jurassic Park rewatchability back in the day when we first, that was a 10, man. Because you wanted to see the Brontosaurus again. You wanted to see the T-Rex again. You want to see all this shit again.
I watched it again, not too long ago. You know what I mean? So Jurassic Park is at that level, so that's 10.
Yeah.
But this movie, am I going to see it maybe 10 years down the road? Maybe. I mean, I think this show would have been better served as a TV show.
It did feel like a super high quality TV show.
Didn't it?
But with really good acting. Charlize Theron is really good in it. Oh, God damn it. The guy that plays the CIA dude, he's really good. The gay guys are really good. Booker's really good. Everybody around them is really good. The main bad guy, he's scary, but he feels stock. King was kind of interesting. There was some scenes where I was like, hey, this is almost like a Breakpoint the movie.
Breakpoint the movie? Because
of their squad tactics, when they raid the first camp, and they're sniping first, and then they go in, then they're going like silent as they can, then they go loud when they have to. It kind of felt you kind of feel like the escalation.
How they just like worked as a team and as a like awesome strike unit,
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. They like kind of Predator-ish.
Yeah. It would have been cool if someone got their head cut off and lightning came out of them. And then we're like, here we are, born to be free. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So I got a 7. You gave it a 7.3 altogether. I gave it a 7.
I think that's decent. I think that's good.
Pretty fair. Because like I enjoyed it. I mean, it's not the best, but I mean, nothing to watch. Man, that was pretty fucking good.
I think it's worth watching. I would recommend it to anybody that likes good action and maybe a different take on like, you know, the whole immortality type deal.
There's not many movies, shows, or anything to deal with that other than Highlander, honestly.
Vampires, you know, Wolverine. This is kind of like Wolverine. They're all Wolverines.
Nah, because with vampires, you got powers.
Yeah, but they're all a bunch of Wolverines, too. We've seen Wolverine.
But Wolverine's, like, really strong. You got one guy climbing. I mean, claws and shit. They were
like normal people, yeah.
It was basically Highlander, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, okay.
Highlander without, you know.
Highlander 2?
Without
the planet Zeiss?
Without Zeist? Of course. Zeist.
Would it have worked better with Zeiss? Dude, what if they fuck this up and they say that aliens gave them this?
Do you think they'll go the alien route?
I'd rather keep it Indiana Jones 1 and 3, you know? Just that kind of because they do kind of mix some spirituality into it, right?
How?
Andy talks about keeping faith, you know? At the end, she's all, you know, have a little faith. And you don't know if maybe that's Niall having an effect on Andy's character. Because Niall talks about her faith. She talks about her belief in God, you know, and you know, the all-powerful and all that. And even when she introduces herself in the camp, you know, she introduces herself, you know, religiously, you know, through a religious greeting. So, you know, I think there's a tide of faith, and maybe, you know, the idea of almost like angels on earth. They're just not really, their miracles aren't like direct. Their miracles are by saving people. And that's guardian angel, right?
It's cool that they chose that path too. Like, what would be your, okay, so you're immortal, right? And you're from the dark ages and you're fighting, you're murdering people. And then I wonder what would be the change where you're like, it would lend itself to a TV show, because then you would be like, what would be the motivation of one person doing good things and then getting other people to do it too?
They did leave a little bit of a mystery box because they never say how old Andy's character is.
Oh yeah.
But I think they just kind of left that open. Like, you know, we don't really have an idea or where we could go with it. So we don't want to put ourselves in a corner and limit her by saying, you know, she's been around since 32 AD.
It would be unnecessary in the first movie because you could just build on that on the second movie. But I really do think that this movie really does lends itself to being a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can keep doing movies, but it's like she's fucking old. She don't look it, but she is getting old, man. She can't.
Charlize Theron?
Yeah, she's like 50 or something like that.
She was awesome, man.
Yeah.
She was awesome. She did some of that John Wick training for this movie, I think.
You could tell. They were all fucking moving just fucking right. You ever watch? Did you watch the Umbrella Academy? Have you ever watched that? They made dude. I binge watched the second season. I was like, this is fucking great. But they did the thing where they made one of the characters lesbian for no fucking reason. I was like, fucking woke. Burns me every fucking time.
That's what I watched. So I watched Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Why? Fucking why?
Because I kind of went down the rabbit hole on these YouTubers that are bashing on like The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. I don't know, because they point out a lot of things and I'm like, fuck, man. It makes me appreciate the original trilogy more.
Yeah, well, I like it because it's like it's its own thing, you know.
Okay,
watch it.
So a big gripe, you know, is that, and I haven't heard anybody talk about that. I'm sure somebody has, right? But a big gripe, you know, was that, you know, the Skywalker saga was about the Skywalkers, and you have to be from some kind of royal bloodline to have any meaning or power. But when we meet Luke, he doesn't have any power. He has nothing. He only accesses the Force by somebody teaching him about it and him wanting to go and learn about it and expanding himself. He's not a natural with the Force. you can identify it in him. You can say, hey, the Force is kind of with this dude, you know? But for him to actually use the powers and abilities, he had to train. He had to practice. He had to make mistakes along the way. And here's the cool thing. I mean, I've never watched it through this lens, you know, maybe when I was a kid, but I had to put myself back into this. You're in the theater, 1980, you're watching Empire Strikes Back. You look at your watch, you're like, man, we're an hour and 45 minutes into this movie. This fucker's been training for the past hour with Yoda. He's badass. Oh, you know, we just saw Rocky kick ass, you know, a couple years ago. This dude's going to go and he's going to kick ass right now.
And then
he gets his ass handed to him and his hand cut off. And fucking Han gets frozen in carbonite. And, you know, the end of the movie finishes and you're just like, holy shit, we're at the lowest fucking point where we thought we were going like this. We went like that. It was Infinity War.
What's cool is it doesn't exist at that time. Nothing like that.
And nothing else had ever happened like that, ever.
And you know what I think the problem with Star Wars, you know, the first trilogy and everything else after that is the power level of the Force. Because for Luke to be badass, it's just because there's not that many people who use the Force. But if no one can use the Force and you got this fucking guy who can just move shit with his mind, that's pretty cosmic, you know?
Yeah.
You know? But because like they keep having to scale it upward, it kind of loses its meaning, you know? The Force could still be badass.
No. In the original, this is where I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. I'm sorry, not the original. In episodes 1 through 3, we got to see what fully trained Jedi who had gone through this shit their whole lives, what their power levels were. The problem was with Rey.
No. You would have seen that through Darth Vader. You would have seen that through the Emperor.
Here's the problem with Vader.
You would have seen that through Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He's seen. See, in the first 3 Star Wars, not the first 3, but like, let's talk trilogy-wise. The Skywalker and all that. You see the Force and how it is. He would be pretty powerful. So would be Obi-Wan because he's fucking doing the thing. He's controlling people. He's a fully actualized Jedi. And if you want to use lore and canon, he would have been more powerful as he got older.
Yoda says it in Return of the Jedi. You know, his strength with the Force is not that strong anymore. He's not at where he was before. So you can degrade in power as you get older.
I mean, but then they kind of fuck up when they do the first 3 movies then, right?
Which first 3 movies? You're talking about episode 1, 2, and 3 or episodes 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah, the second trilogy. We'll say it that. Let's go we'll call the trilogies by 1, 2, and 3, okay? The first trilogy is Luke Skywalker. Second trilogy is fucking Anakin. Third trilogy is Rey. Whatever the fuck. So you got the first trilogy, and you got old people, and they're fucking doing this shit. They're pretty powerful, like for what you know of the Force, you know, and like they're already realized individuals. And then Star Wars, the second trilogy comes out, right? And then I think that's where things get fucked up, is because you got what's his name? George Lucas just retconning a bunch of shit, right? He's just like, oh, they could do this and this and this, but they
Chlorians.
And you have older Jedi doing badass feats, you know? So it's like he just loses track, and he just ups the ante for how powerful they are. So that when the third trilogy comes out, they got to do way more shit.
What's something that they did in the second trilogy that you think is like a major power creep? Not even power creep, a power jump.
Well, think about it. Okay, so Phantom Menace, they run really fast. That wasn't a thing.
It's a dash. Luke does it as a jump in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, he does jump, but that's it. I mean, he doesn't go fast. Assuming that's a thing, right? Moving really fast. And for some reason, they forget it when they're going through the fucking
yeah.
But
it was a dash. It wasn't a run fast. It was more like a.
So be it.
Okay.
Right? How come Obi-Wan couldn't do that? Like, Obi-Wan never thinks to do that at any time. He did it before with his homeboy Qui-Gon, you know?
Probably too old now.
But then you got Count Dooku, who's able to do all this shit. Lightning coming out of his fucking hand, beating 2 fucking Master Jedi.
That's the power of the dark side. It's a natural.
In the first trilogy, you got Emperor Palpatine. What does he do? Lightning. And then
dark side. It's unnatural. So you could prolong your life through the dark side and maintain your power levels, but you got to be dark side.
But then
Light side still accepts. Wait, light side still accepts, life and death as part of a cycle. That you go up and then you go down. But dark side breaks that rule, and that's the temptation part of the dark side.
see, you're trying to like rationalize bad writing because
No, because Yoda says it.
Emperor Palpatine doesn't do anything. He doesn't. In the first trilogy, he's powerful, right? He's pretty cosmic, man. He shoots lightning.
Okay.
But he doesn't do anything. He just shoots lightning. Count Dooku, who's old, and say he's unnatural with the dark side of the Force, he's doing way more than Emperor Palpatine did. He's not only shooting the lightning, he's taking on Master fucking Jedi. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, we never got to see if the Emperor would have done it.
he took on 3 Jedi. He takes on fucking Anakin Skywalker, who's the chosen one, who's supposed to be like real powerful. He fucks him up. Then he fucks up.
Yeah, but the Emperor didn't do anything because he didn't want to blow his cover, and he was still trying to build that relationship with Anakin.
Dude fucking takes himself out with Emperor Palpatine. Takes himself.
Oh, that was stupid. Yeah, I didn't like that.
If he's at the fucking level at Count, he should be at the level Count Dooku, at least. He doesn't, because they scaled it upward when
he fought Yoda.
Yeah, he fought Yoda. And Count Dooku fights Yoda after he's taken on 2 Jedi. He takes on Yoda, and then he barely fucking wins. He barely wins. I mean, but through nefarious means he wins. Like I think he does something where
he's gonna drop something on Anakin.
Choice, or he'll lose. But regardless, Count Dooku is your power metric, right? He's way more powerful than Emperor Palpatine is when he's in Return of the Jedi. Which, if you're gonna use unnatural forces, he should be fucking way powerful. So when fucking Vader picks him up, he should have been like, because Count Dooku's moving like that. I'm just saying what happened was they scaled the power up, fucking the whole thing up. You know what I mean? Because it's the first the first trilogy.
I would kind of agree, but not by much. I would say that there was a power creep, but I think it was subtle. I don't think it was as ridiculous as fucking the new trilogy.
Well, yeah, of course.
You gotta agree with me on that.
Yeah,
that
other than that.
No matter we think of the power jump from trilogy 1 to trilogy 2, whether it's this or this, Rise of Skywalker and Force Awakens goes like that.
Now, see, it goes like this. Here's Star Wars, and that's pretty fucking. It's solid. It's fucking solid.
We're talking power levels.
We're talking power levels. But Luke Skywalker should be king of the fucking universe because he can move a twig. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's fucking pretty badass. But then you get your Star Wars, Clone Wars, and all that bullshit, and it's like fucking crazy. And of course, then when you have Rise of Skywalker, it just has to be more powerful. It just makes sense. Well, you blame that the second trilogy. That's all, because they moved away from what the mysticism of the Force is.
It makes sense in a Michael Bay sort of way, right? Where you have to keep scaling it up, but it doesn't make sense in a narrative sense.
I agree,
because you can at least argue, well, they were fully trained Jedi, and whatever. Okay, they could do more things, but in the third trilogy, the new trilogy, she's never fully trained. And the cool thing is, well, not cool. One of the YouTubers points out, she learns about the Force, and 48 hours later, she's moving those boulders. Because literally, she's with them for a day, right up until when they blow up the Starkiller base. That the very next morning, she goes out to meet Luke. No one's gonna fucking tell me that she stayed to trade with Leia before she went to go find Luke. Otherwise, she would have shown up with Luke trained, right? Okay, so she didn't do any training. She went to go find Luke right away, found Luke, and Luke told her to fucking kick rocks and only spent the day with her. Then she went to save the resistance because they were hiding behind that wall. It was 2 days, 3 days max. Even if it's 72 hours, it's a tough sell that she went from barely finding out about the Force to being king shit in the Force.
It's kind of a weird thing, right? Because like she learns how to control people's minds just by seeing it the one time. And
Within 24 hours
in the
of learning about it.
then she knows how to use the blade. Like I get the Force in a way, like using the Force. Maybe you could explain it away, like, you know, metachlorines, man, fucking hidden memory, genetic memory. Fucking say that. How do you get the fucking sword? Because the Force isn't about using a sword. The Force is about using the Force. The sword,
Right.
the second part of it, you know, like the sword isn't really a thing. It's just like another martial art, you know. So why the fuck can she use the sword? Period. But whatever. I mean, that's just. I mean, I don't know why people are shitting on these movie on the third trilogy, because it's like it's a shit show. If you didn't have that second movie the way it is, everything would have worked out. It just would have, because you could have explained everything in the first movie in the second movie, but instead of that, they just said, you know what, fuck it, let's just do a race. Like,
Yeah, they didn't have an overall plan. How about this, dude? So the third trilogy might become Dragon Ball GT.
they're not doing that. They're not
You don't
doing.
think so? You don't think so?
I want it. I mean, what a shit show the Star Wars it's. Oh, you know what? I was going to ask you this. This was going to be a topic last time. Is Star Wars a good franchise? So you've got Mandalorian, that's pretty good. You got Clone Wars and all those cartoons, that's pretty fucking good. You got that first trilogy, that's pretty fucking good. The only thing really shitty is the second trilogy and the third trilogy. That's all, you know.
The second trilogy, I'm okay with it.
No, that's
I'm okay with it existing. I'm fine. Whatever. It's been around long enough. We can call it canon. The new trilogy is new enough to where we could say, okay, let's undo it. But is it a good franchise? I think it still is, man. I think it still has the cartoons, not the new one, but the Clone Wars and Rebels. I think those were good. The TV stuff looks like it's gonna be good too. Obi-Wan, I'm looking forward to that.
feels like whenever they push an agenda, that's when shit gets bad. So the first trilogy kind of felt pure. It kind of worked out together, and they weren't really trying to push an agenda. They were just trying to make the best product that they could. And then you have the second trilogy, and the agenda they're pushing there is more. More is better. You know, CG everywhere. You know, and that the story suffers from that.
Right.
And then the third trilogy really is just a debacle. It was really the woke movement.
Kathleen Kennedy had a lot to do with that, and a lot of people are shitting on her. And I've been shitting on her since fucking Indiana Jones 4.
Huh.
You know, you see her. I started seeing her name on stuff, and I'm like, I keep seeing the same fucking name on shit that's fucking shit up. What's going on? Where you saw her name and a lot of works, and it seemed like she just had money and was able to produce things, but kind of let other people make the decisions. And I guess she wanted to start making creative decisions, and that's where shit started to go sideways.
Yeah.
It turns out, I mean, according to some shit I'm seeing online, it was her idea to make Palpatine the antagonist for this third movie.
You know, I thought that was a J.J. Abrams trying to,
I thought so too.
To clutch it, just trying.
Mark Hamill's the one that said it.
Wow, that's the truth. Mark Hamill's us. He is literally he's behind the cause. Fuck, they really fucked him over, dude.
Yeah, they did.
Over him, they fucked over Finn.
And he tried telling everybody too. He was like, I don't like the direction of this.
No, I have
taken this character
from the get-go. The get-go. When Mark Hamill said that shit in Star Wars 8, I was like, oh, fuck. But I actually literally separated myself from that. And I knew Mark Hamill's an ally. Whenever he says some shit, he is legit. When I watched that first movie, like I have that eighth movie, that's when it started getting shitty. I really do like Force Awakens. I really do.
I like it too. I like it. It's got its problems. It's got some stupid shit in there, but
8 can fix that. 8 could have fixed that. And that first part, though, the first 20 minutes of that movie was like, whoa. I really was like, this is fucking good. This is it. And then I was like, oh, Finn's naked, whatever. And then nothing happens.
But then you start thinking about it. Actually, the first 20 minutes were hit and miss for me, actually. The jokes that he was making with Hux.
I
I'm
love it.
looking for I'm looking for hugs. I didn't like him.
I liked it. It was
I
different.
didn't like it.
I
I
thought
didn't like it.
it was a surreal moment where the villain is self-aware. You know, like not even self-aware. It's like the movie was self-aware of the ridiculousness of this character because in the first movie he was generic, and then
Ooh,
this
Poe?
no, not Poe, the
Hux?
villain. Yeah, Hux is a generic villain.
No, he was like a foil to Kylo Ren, man.
Yeah, he's generic. He's just like, I am a villain because I'm a villain and I'm with this force and we're this and that. He was just generic. But in that second movie, they really turned the tables and made him kind of like
He was generic, but he was still formidable. After that, they just made fun of him.
explain to me when he was formidable. He just
Because he was working within the military structure, and Kylo Ren was kind of like the Darth Vader, literally. I mean, because Darth Vader was part of the military structure, but a part at the same time, because he was almost like special forces, right? The guys, the traditional military guys, they were really doubtful about him. You know, they even like called him out on shit, and he fucking choked them out. You know,
what
no, your sorcerer's ways can, blah 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 blah, and he would show them, I got power. Um, I kind of saw the similar thing between Hux and Kylo Ren, and that tension between them because they were both kind of angling for power in this.
the thing
And
I have to interrupt on that one. Like
go ahead.
okay, when you have Empire, okay, so when you have Darth Vader, right? And he's there. He's there. And it's basically, look, I'm the fucking power. But you, the was it the general guy,
Mhm.
you are just getting this shit going. You're basically my navy. You get me here to there. But in reality, I have the power. Other guy, it seemed like Admiral
Tarkin, yeah, Tarkin, Moff Tarkin,
he
Tarkin.
he knew what he was doing. He is the force, not the force, but the military. You can't like just rule the fucking universe with just by yourself. You know, you need a fucking military. You know, so they had a kind of a organic kind of relationship. That's why he's allowing Darth Vader to just murder people. Because
Right.
reality wise, I mean, Darth Vader could be as badass as he wants, but can he breathe in space? I mean, like you could have spaced him. Literally, if I was General Tarkin, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna
Shoot
take
a missile. Shoot a missile at that ship or
yeah,
whatever.
dude, I would have took a shuttle and had the ship explode. You know, like I don't care. I'm part of the military. I don't give a fuck. He's a military strategist. It doesn't matter. But they're working together. He knows I'm going to rule the military. Homeboy really is the power. And that's how it is because he's fucking serving an emperor, you know? And then you have all these other fucking guys who are like, oh, we're badass. And then, Vader fucking puts him in his place. So they try to recreate that dynamic, but they didn't because Hux is just a generic fucking guy. And he's like, oh, I'm so badass. I could fucking take you out, right? But he's not a military genius. Like, he doesn't give that gravitas. He's just fucking generic. I'm a bad guy.
They probably should have picked somebody older.
Maybe. But in that, you know what? They made that, and then you have your second movie, and they just made him a comical character. It's kind of like,
I didn't like that though.
you can tell that it's like two people having a conversation. I've talked about this before. Two people having a conversation. J.J. Abrams is this. Knives Out guy was like, you know what? Fuck it. This character's stupid. And he's right. There's a lot of stupid things that are in The Force Awakens. And rather than work with the material that you had, he worked against it. And some is hit and some is miss. With Finn, he's just said, you know what? I don't need this garbage character. I need a Rose.
I liked Finn though.
No, I agree.
Oh god, okay.
But with Hux, he was like, this fucking piece of trash. He's just a generic version of Tarkin, but he's not good. So we'll make him a joke. We'll make him the comedic joke. And I thought that was
Could
good.
have made him better. Instead of trying to figure out a way to make him better, he just turned him into a joke. And then,
like, I don't want to shit on this movie. Let's talk about Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. What are your critiques? What is there something that's cluing in or something? Or
dude, man, I got the vapors, when Leia tells Han that she loves him and he says, I know. And it's fucking legendary, right? I mean, I've seen it a million times already, but damn, it's like this guy's he's going away. He's gonna get frozen. He's getting taken. He's getting ripped from them.
His last words to the chick he loves. And like it's funny because they spent all this time. I think it's like 6 months in between the two movies. And they spend you could just like in your you know those little anime intros really fucking crystallize
Yeah, they do.
the spirit of it. But to say I know, I mean that's so fucking boss, dude. I don't think any time and like it's good. It's not like see how pure those movies are. It's like, oh, how you putting a fucking woman in her place and shit. You know, these movies started at a time where they made women badass because like Leia wasn't just a damsel in distress. In Return of the Jedi, they kind of fucked that up. But like other than that, like I mean, those first two movies, they really made her a badass. You know,
But she still has vulnerabilities because when Han's in carbonite and he slams down, she like recoils, and it felt real because she recoils back and grabs Chewbacca. You know, and it feels like something I've seen before. You know, like in real fucking life.
Yeah.
You know, when anybody really, you know, is in that vulnerable spot where they're just like, oh shit,
you know what?
This is real now.
It's so cool when they kill him in that way because you don't know. Like I think at that time, I remember watching the documentary or something like that. Like you don't know if Han's coming back.
Yeah, you don't know if he's
They left because he was becoming famous, so he didn't have to come back. And really, if you look at like Harrison Ford, he doesn't give a fuck about Star Wars, so he could have left. So that was on the table at the time. And if the gravity of it, okay, if he dies, right? That's whatever. But when he's in that carbonite, and that fucker drops, like just dying is one thing, but the fucking gravity of this shit's final. You know, you don't know. You know, shit.
But you know what? Knowing that now, when I was watching Return of the Jedi, you really could have taken Han out of the movie and replaced him with Lando.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think that might have been Lando's purpose.
Yeah,
as a backup, just in case Harrison Ford wasn't going to come back.
You could have worked that. In fact, that whole Tatooine thing was added in towards the end. The entire movie was made from like Endor and on. You know, a little bit after Tatooine, that's when the movie starts. Really, added the 45-minute Tatooine thing.
And you know what? That used to be my least favorite part of the movie.
I know
it's my favorite now.
It is my favorite.
It's my favorite.
When I first saw this movie, I saw this movie not in theater, but I saw it on ABC.
Yeah,
I think it was on TV, and I remember watching it, and I was just like, I couldn't understand what was going on, but over many repetitions of watching this movie, it really is it's like reintroducing the characters, you know, and then they're all having this adventure, you know. God, that's what Star Wars is. It's just a fun adventure.
When I was watching Return of the Jedi, something that stood out to me, you kind of forget that Luke, for all intents and purposes, doesn't have a lightsaber because it went away with his hand after Darth Vader cut it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're watching this movie, you're not expecting a lightsaber. And then you see R2-D2's panel open up, shoot out. He catches it, you're like, oh, he got his lightsaber. Then he turns it on, it's fucking green. It's like, whoa, we've only been seeing blues and reds for the last 6 years. Now we're seeing a fucking green lightsaber. It was like when the Green Ranger came out, you know, with the Dragon Zord. It was like, oh fuck, this is fucking awesome. Mm. That must have been bonkers back in the day.
It's cool too, the writing, because they could have left it at that, but they did it later on when I'm just doing this from memory. I haven't even watched this movie in 10 years, but I watched it so much it doesn't matter.
You see it, you just close your eyes, you see it, right?
So when Luke is on the Sky Bridge in Return of the Jedi, and he's facing outward, Vader, he turns it on, and it's cool because Luke doesn't bother to look. He hears it, he feels it, you know, but he knows what's up. And Darth Vader explains it, and he goes, you made your own lightsaber, your training is complete. That was like fucking tight. So they added a little world builder right there.
Yeah.
So it means you have to build your sword to have your training complete, which would have been cool if that was incorporated in any fucking form. But it's like they forgot that one sentence. But it was cool that they said that.
Yeah, that was cool because you're right. When we only had episodes 4, 5, and 6, that was all we had to learn about the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and our imaginations kind of filled that up, like of them, you know, going around getting shit, you know, and putting it together and learning how to do that. And it also made the weapon special because it meant that there wasn't a fucking company out there that was printing these things out.
Lightsabers.
Yeah, it was a very specific thing that you trained on how to make and build, and then you went and you did it. It was a rite of passage.
What a completion of the warrior. You get these skills and then you make your weapon, and that's it, man. That's how you know you're complete. But you're not complete. You're not a Jedi yet, he says. That's what Darth Vader says. He goes, your training is complete. I'm like, fucking great. He's a Jedi. Then Darth Vader goes, but you're not a Jedi yet. And I was like,
and Darth Vader's a master, so even though he's the bad guy, you kind of got to take his word for it.
Yeah, well, no, he's the world building. And it's cool that they said that, because then that means that the final thing, like graduating school, is making your sword, but you're not a Jedi yet. And you're like, what the fuck do you have to do to be a Jedi? You have to pass.
He tells them the thing about the lightsaber in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
No, but you're not a Jedi yet. This is Skybridge. And then you're like, oh, okay, so you have to make a sword, and then your training is complete, but you got to pass some kind of a test, I guess, to be a Jedi. And because that's what they do with the world building, because he says that then means there's a test to pass. So fast forward to when the Emperor goes down, and he's about to kill his dad, and then he looks at his hand, and he realizes the path he is going, like, I don't want to be like my dad. So he grabbed the truest Jedi, that the passing the test isn't to fight, is to know that you don't need to fight.
Right.
That's passing the test, because he throws the sword away, the lightsaber away. Like, fucking, he literally just throws away. I don't even know. I don't know how.
Not just turn it off. He tosses it.
He tosses it. Like, I was like, hey man, you don't know where that shit's at. There's no GPS on that fucking thing. You don't know where it's at. He goes, I am a Jedi, like my father before me. And I was like, oh shit, okay, so you have to pass some kind of a spiritual trial and learn that you don't have to fight. I mean, at the time, I was like, this is the world building. To be a Jedi, you got to go through training. You got to make your sword, and your training is complete. Now you got to pass a trial. And the trial is to learn not to fight. Wow, what a warrior's journey that is. You were fighting, you don't want to do this, and you do all this shit, and you're seeing the future, and it turns out all this fucking power is to be thrown away. That's when you're a Jedi, when you throw away your power. And then you get Star Wars, the second trilogy, and they fuck all that up. They fuck all that up. All it is fight, and to become a Jedi is fight more. And that's it. But if you watch the purity of that first trilogy, Return of the Jedi, you realize, damn, dude, man.
It is awesome.
It's to be a Jedi is to not have all this power, to have all this power and throw it away. And then it makes sense. The duality of it. Dark side's like, you have all this power, and then you
just want to get more.
And you want to get more. Yeah. And then you watch the second trilogy comes out, and it's really everyone's a Sith Lord, basically. But because they're using the ideologies of fight. They even fucking fight a war. The Jedi are not to fight a war. Period.
And that's what some of the things I've seen talk about too. That the Jedi that we saw in the episodes 1, 2, and 3, the second trilogy, they're not real Jedi by that point. They're power hungry, and they're not at that level that Luke is at, where you can
figures
give it up.
That's what makes him the greatest Jedi of all of them, is because he figures out the true power of a Jedi is not to fight. And it makes sense. Think about it. So you got the Force, right? And when you die, you become part of the Force. So what the fuck doesn't matter? You know what I mean? So it's all about living that good life, and then to the end, because death isn't a real thing. You just die, and that's like religion. I mean, that's how the Bible fucking works. Yeah. I mean, all of it is all linked into that, And then so, like, when you're fighting against, like, you should fight the fight, but if you can't fight, you don't fight. That's it, because the Force is with you. Because Obi-Wan shows that in the first movie, because he's like, I could keep fighting, but this is it. This is the end of the road, because I'm part of the Force. The Force is with me and all that bullshit. And he fucking dies, and that's it. And Luke knows this. He knows this at the very end. He knows this is it. I'm done. He completes the hero's journey. And he does what Obi-Wan does. He's like, throws the sword away. And here you got Emperor Palpatine. And that's what pisses Emperor Palpatine off, because he knows that this motherfucker figured it out, and here I am ruling the universe again. Fuck. And so that's why he shoots his little laser piss, you know? And then they fucking throw all that away with the second trilogy. So they fuck all that up. No, because Obi-Wan should have just let himself die. Not Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon?
Yeah, if Qui-Gon was the master that he is, he would have just died. He would have known that this was a battle he could not have won, and he would just die.
What I think there might be a little bit more to that. Maybe just knowing when to put your power down.
No, you know? I know, because they're fighting, and then like this guy is just overpowering him the whole time, and then it's just like just the two of them couldn't take him on. So Qui-Gon, when it's just the 1-on-1, if you really wanted to make him a master, you should have just gave up. I don't know how you achieve this, but you do that.
So how do you become a master without getting killed?
Like Yoda?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
That's why I'm thinking it's about knowing when to put the power down. There, it was an act of compassion because he was being manipulated into trying to kill his dad, and he was like, no. You know, and through my compassion, he fucking busted a Naruto. You know, through my compassion, I'm gonna change it.
And he did.
Not through violence.
It's through the act. It's the act of, you know what would have been great? Okay. Somehow, because like, you know what would have been great? All right, so you have this first trilogy, right? And it takes an act of Jesus, basically. Because when fucking Luke throws his lightsaber away, says, I'm a Jedi like my father before me, it's basically, I'm ready to die because this is it. And fucking Emperor goes, all right, and Emperor acknowledges it too.
Yeah, he calls him a Jedi.
Fine, Jedi, prepared to die, and then laser piss him, and then Vader sees this act and fucking kills his guy. So if you're making a trilogy based off of this, you should create a scenario in which you see sacrifice because you see Qui-Gon die. It should have been somebody who gives everything to this guy, Anakin. And at the very end of it, Anakin should have sacrificed himself in some way, but doesn't do it. And that is the thing that clicks in his head that I need to do. I mean, fuck, the regret. That's what makes him a villain. That would be great if that would make him the villain, the regret.
He kind of did because he had a choice between siding with Mace Windu or siding with the Emperor when they were on the ledge in the room.
It's hard. Is that just? I mean,
it was. It didn't have the same. It didn't have the same power as when Luke decided. Fuck it. I'm gonna die for my dad. You know.
It should have been. It should have been this. That's what I didn't like about that. That third movie where he goes to becoming bad. It's like it didn't feel gradual because I mean, children's like, what the fuck? It would have been great if it was a scenario in which he should have given his life, but he chose not to, and then that regret creates this recursive loop that creates the villain. But you're telling me the reason he does all this villainy is to try to keep his Padme alive. So, I mean, like, it's such a leap to just kill children to keep his Padme alive. I mean, it would have I don't see any, I mean, fuck, after he kills kids, I could then see that, but what, to step him to the killing of
they try to build it in
and people
by giving him the trauma of losing his mom.
No.
And almost like, well, I let my mom die. I'm not gonna let my Padme die, But I don't know. You're right. It just didn't feel gradual.
Killing children. I get the sand people.
It wasn't like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. You're with them in the beginning, and then at some point you got to decide to get off and be like, I can't.
Yeah, because he's not
the bad guy now.
Yeah, because he's in Breaking Bad, he's powerful, but he's not. He's accidentally winning each fight. Like, it's just through his wits and his grit, he fucking wins, right? So you don't understand that he has become powerful because he isn't the whole time. That's a trick. He's lucky this whole time. But like when he starts listing his accolades, in reality, he is quite powerful. And that's what's cool about that, the gradualness. But with Vader, I get Sand People kids because you don't really see them. I mean, they really just flippantly to kill children. It was a flippant thing, like that's like I get that. I mean, you shouldn't take that lightly. I don't know why he wrote that. I don't know
Yeah.
when he wrote that, because it's like he never had children of his own.
And then Padme stays there after he says this.
With the Sand People, yeah, he goes, you killed the younglings too?
And she still has sex with them and has a baby with them afterwards.
I know. You know, an argument could be said, and I've seen people with theories, you know, he does the, you know, he's manipulating her mind, and he is pretty powerful. But that's neither here nor there. You got to accept what you have. You know what I mean? And what we have is a guy who kills children, and Padme's cool with that. And I guess he did it one time before, so he's gonna do it again. So they made it like, what do we do, Anakin or young master or whatever?
But that almost it makes him unredeemable too, because then you get to where he's Darth Vader in Episode 6, and he gets turned back to the light side. But at that point, you're like, and this fucker should be dead. I'm not gonna shed a tear for this dude. He fucking killed kids.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like, there is a place for him killing children. I think you can do that if it's a rage thing. You know what I mean? Like, if it was a thing where he was so guilt-ridden and these kids are coming at him, like
Right.
the one something similar where the kids are coming after him and he one of the characters, and they end up just cutting down these kids, and it wasn't like she's a villain. It was these kids are coming after him, but the guilt of that, I mean, they didn't play that part. But you could have done that with Anakin. The kids start coming after him and he starts fucking wiping them out, but at the same time he's like, I mean, he's just caught in a situation where he didn't want to be in. So the guilt of that would create this loop. Whatever the fuck, I don't care. Let's not. We're beating a dead horse, you know. Like, I mean,
yeah,
like,
we are.
we could really just pick that shit apart. But we were talking about. That's what I love about the Star Wars 1. I really love that movie. And then Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi. It's a complete trilogy that's beautiful. And then when I hear David Filoni trying to fucking try to nerd talk his way around, like he's doing mental jiu-jitsu to make this fucking work, that first trilogy, and it's unredeemable. It just is.
I think I'm okay with the first trilogy. Like I said, it's been around long enough.
This new trilogy's god awful. So that's why you're okay with it. That's the only reason why.
I think this new trilogy did make me appreciate the second one more, but
which is terrible. Like, if you watch it again, you can't watch it because The Force Awakens is a pretty good movie. It really is. Then watch any one of those Star Wars 1, 2, or 3. They're terrible. They're fucking terrible. Like, a bunch of shit's happening. You're like, why?
Yeah, because Force Awakens felt like it was in the same universe as the original trilogy.
Yeah.
The idea of the Resistance, I was like, I mean, if you start thinking about things, you know, a lot, then it starts to fall apart real fast.
Yeah, the Resistance.
But if you just sit down and enjoy it, enjoy the callbacks, enjoy seeing some of the characters and stuff, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. And then when you watch the first trilogy, it's just fucking unredeemable. It just is. Like, just look at the wall scroll. Like, when it's like the Trade Federation.
Oh, yeah, those.
Sold this, council that. And I was like, fuck. And then you have the Jedi. It's like they took everything that the Jedi were and fucking shat on them, dude. Like, they should have never been drawn into. There's no scenario where you get the Jedi drawn into a war, because that defeats what they are. You know what I mean? It's peaceful fucking like warriors. That's not peaceful at all.
Yeah, because they were gonna fucking mind trick these guys into making a deal, which was like, you're taking away somebody's free will.
Yeah. Well, they were supposed to. When did they become diplomats, though? That's the thing. Like, they were like, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon were there to fucking use diplomacy. And I was like,
negotiate.
Fucking why? That's not what their job is. This is the government shit. They should just figure their own shit out. But for some reason, there's Jedi there for no fucking reason. They inserted themselves into politics.
That's why the argument's made that by that point the Jedi Council wasn't like the traditional Jedi Council.
I agree,
you know,
but
they weren't, and that Qui-Gon was probably one of the last real Jedi types, you know, and even then he's not pure, right? But because he's affected by the Council. But yeah, that what we saw there was not the true Jedi Council. Hence, that's why they fell.
I agree with you if somebody would have said that, but nobody said that. And you can't draw that conclusion because you're just drawing. It's like looking at a wall and saying, I see a boat, or I see.
Yeah, it took a lot of people talking about it and having to look at
Yeah,
other lore and shit like that to say that's not really what they were like. You know?
could have fucking said it in one sentence, be like, the Jedi aren't what they used to be, or something like that. He could have been like the beaten soldier who was remembering the good times, you know. And once again, you have Yoda, like what the fuck, Yoda? Like, I mean, you were there before them, you were there after them. So I mean, like, if anybody, Yoda should have been on
He
point.
should have been calling them out on their shit. Yeah.
I mean, like, he remembered the old times too, because he was the old times, you know. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, that's a
I
terribly.
never thought of that. I
Yeah.
never thought of that. Yeah, Yoda should have been calling people out on their shit.
That's what happens when you just get, but like, if you look into the making of Star Wars 4, 5, and 6, you know, fucking, it wasn't him. It just was a set of events that worked together to create this fucking beautiful masterpiece of a trilogy. The reason why it's a masterpiece, and it's not like in comparison to like Lord of the Rings or whatever the fuck, is because it was there before all this other shit. I mean, there was other Shakespearean things and things like that, but no, it was in space. You had a dark moment in the second movie. I mean, all this shit was there.
Did you ever watch how Star Wars was saved in the edit?
Yeah, you know, we talked about that with the first.
Yeah.
It was just there, and then they went and attacked the Death Star. You know.
Yeah. Did you watch it though?
Uh, uh, yeah, I think, right.
I think I gave you like the Cliff Notes version, but
I don't need to fucking watch it, man. We get the.
it's interesting to watch, dude. If you haven't watched it, watch it, man.
I mean, with all the documentaries that we have, we all get the gist of what's going on here. George Lucas did not make this shit. He did not make this shit. It got together and it works.
It was a committee, but it was the right committee. Usually committee fucks shit up, but it was like a perfect storm of shit that happened.
And then you gave this fucking guy, the power to make 3 more movies, just him.
Yeah, you felt that. Yeah. I felt that when I was watching them. I go, well, this is like him off the leash.
So the kids have lightsabers. So like, to completely become a Jedi, you get a lightsaber. Like, I mean, the kids had lightsabers too. So I was just like, oh, man, like, fuck, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing here? Like, own fucking movies, you know. But whatever. People have been shitting on these fucking that first trilogy since it came out. So, like, what we're doing is rehashing shit to get to the third movie. My main thing was they should have took the first movie, the first trilogy, looked at it, and then just kind of had more philosophy behind the next movies. More sword fighting, if anything, but more of a philosophy, not power. Like, they misunderstood the word power. Power didn't mean moving planets and shit or whatever.
Yeah.
Power is like really the ability to affect change. You know what I mean? So, like, getting shit done. You know, getting shit done is good story. See, that's the problem. You have to be a good storyteller to get the audience to understand what getting shit done meant.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not just like getting shit done. I threw a Hadouken, the fucking satellites break it, some bullshit like that. You know, because Luke is getting change done. He's not getting done by fucking moving the fucking Death Star. He's shooting some torpedoes in a hole. It was really hard to do.
That was the big gripe in Rise of Skywalker, is that they're chasing the MacGuffin, right?
Yeah.
They gotta get this to get that to get this other thing. Oh, psych! Kylo's just gonna fucking break it, and we just spent the first hour and a half of the movie to get to this point. It turns out you didn't really need it anyways, because there was this little droid that could take you there anyway. That another dead horse, right?
Yeah.
But you know, as I was watching the Old Guard, I kind of appreciated that there was no MacGuffin to chase. You know, it was situations, and the people were finding themselves in these situations, and they needed to solve it, and they needed to have the power to affect the change, to cover their asses, or to defend themselves, or to save their friends. But it was human, you know, and it was organic, and it felt natural, it felt right. Rise of Skywalker, I'm like, they're really fucking making us chase things around.
Yeah.
It's the laziest fucking thing of all time.
The reason you have a Rise of the Skywalker, and I don't even know why you call it that name, by the way. I can argue that to the end of the earth. But it should be Rise of the Organa, if anything, because she's the one who trains. The fucking lady. Like, why Skywalker means nothing to her. The guy who fucking hits her with the twig and then dies. That's all he does. So, anyways, and then his name is Ben Solo. So, like, I mean, if anything, Solo. What the fuck ever. Whatever. They got caught up because you have the fuck up of that second movie. So here you are, because the first movie is good, but it's a fuck up. But it's good. And there you go. So your second movie is supposed to fix the mistakes of the first movie. But you know what they did? Doubled down. Went further deeper into the hole. So the third one's like, fuck, what do we do? So they try to bring it back up. So it comes up to, so here's your arc. It's like this, and then this, and then the other guy kind of goes like that. So that's why you have a shitty trilogy, because they're trying to fix the mistakes of the second movie, and the second movie fucking makes more mistakes instead of fixing the first movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the first trilogy is just fucking a work of shit, because they just said, you know what we need is more lightsabers, more force powers, more lightning. Fucking just let's get crazy with it, because they didn't really look at the movies that they made. And instead of making better story or writing story in a way where, like, how do I get my character to do this? They're just like, fucking lightning force. Fucking, there you go. And I see that a lot. Like the Umbrella Academy. Like, I'm like, so you have the power to move shit with your mind, but you didn't use that power here. Why? Like, why didn't you use that power? I don't like bad writing like that. Like, it's like, well, you did it here. Why can't you do it there? Like when they do the force sprint. Like, fucking Anakin, why didn't you force sprint?
Yeah, they should have never had him do that.
Yeah, because they never did that before.
Or just at least a force dash, but you show them dash and then run.
And the reason why they can't do it more than once in a day.
Right.
Shit like that. Because, like,
more than once in a day.
Obi-Wan, why didn't you fucking dash to your homeboy? That's why he died. It's because you just forgot you could dash. You master Jedi forgot you could dash. I mean, it's retarded that you would forget powers. And okay, you have the power to move things with your mind. Move someone's heart. They're dead. I mean, like, you have to explain that. You just, like, if you have the power to move something with your mind, move a brain cell. They had a stroke. I mean, this fucking why? But whatever. That's your fucking movies, whatever. That's why I like your first trilogy. Kept shit simple. No such thing as a metachlorine. The Force makes sense. There's an energy, and you can understand it at a core level, at a philosophical core level. There is an energy to us that you can just connect, and then when you die, you just go right back into it, like into the ether, and it doesn't mean anything. That's why you have Jedi that get it. Jedi understand when we die, we're just, why be a bad guy? And while you have the dark side, why do I have to die? I could live forever.
Yeah.
So you have these two duality, these two philosophical ideas against each other, and that's fucking tight.
They didn't play with that.
No, that's what they should have did in the first movie. Instead of talking about Trade Federation and random Jewish bad guys, it just, there you go, And you know what? Let's move topics, because we're gonna beat the dead horse. I wanted to talk about not this explosion thing, but I wanted to talk about. You know what? Let's bring this up. I want to bring this up before I forget. Did you see the video that came out recently of the Floyd?
Uh-oh.
There's like 40 seconds before they took him in. You didn't see it?
No.
Oh, okay. So
When did this come out?
Just today. Today it came out. So I guess this is leaked footage of the body cam of when they made the arrest of Floyd. So homeboy is in his car, right? And they're telling him to do shit, and he's not doing it. And he's talking about how he got and this is true with all the evidence. He has COVID-19. He's positive for COVID-19. He knows he has COVID-19. So he says, I have COVID-19. I'm having trouble breathing. He says that in that camera. But this is before they put the knee on him. Okay. So they're trying to tell him to do shit. He is being unresponsive. If you see the video, you could tell he's kind of I'm not saying that he's high, but I mean
What's going on?
Toxicology did say he had fentanyl and methamphetamine in him, upper and a downer. So I mean, he seemed kind of out of it. If you've been around the bush and you've seen a lot of fentanyl and methamphetamine people, they're not all there in the sense that they can't form complete thoughts.
Okay.
So they're telling him shit. He's not understanding it. I'll chalk it up to, you got a police guy fucking coming after you. So they tell him, so he's already telling him he can't breathe. This is bad. So they try to put him into the back of the car. All right. He's not going in. They're trying to put him in, but he's not. And he's like, I can't breathe. I can't go in the car. So that's when and I've already seen the video from then on. That's the end of that video. So they sit him down and then they put him on the floor, and that's when they kill him. So it's not like what they did was right, and that vindicates them. It's just that it's an aspect of the video that should have came out from the beginning. And it doesn't seem like it's a racial thing. If you see it, it's like a series of unfortunate events. And when he says he can't breathe from the beginning and COVID-19 is in play and he's on meth and fentanyl, which is proven, do you know the riots we're going to have because they charged this cop who did murder this guy. They charged him with like a hardcore sentence they won't be able to prove because they're saying that he's the one who caused the death, but you can't prove that because of the three factors: the drugs that's in the system, the meth and whatever, the fact that he said he couldn't breathe to begin with, and then them, putting the knee on, so it's
9 minutes
for 9 minutes. So and then when you see the death report, it's more like his heart gave out, not death from strangulation, because those are two different kinds of things. Okay. So you're trying to prove that hey, cop killed him, period. I'm there, but I'm just saying, like, to prove it in a court of law
beyond a reasonable doubt,
you can't. You can just poke holes through it. He was on meth. He was on fucking fentanyl. You said his heart gave out. There's nothing that says that. The coroner doesn't say he was strangled to death. It's his heart gave out or some shit like that. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, the way that video plays out is we're gonna have riots like no other. When the cops
gets acquitted, man, this is gonna be bad news.
Because of the charges. If it was just manslaughter or whatever, I think you could have got away with that. But to say second-degree murder, like, because they're saying like he knew him and shit. But the way the video plays out, it's he died.
Do you think people would still get upset? Let's say they made a deal to lessen the charges.
They tried and it didn't work. They tried to do that. They tried to have a guilty plea, but it didn't fall through negotiations. So they're going to go through court. And I have to say, I mean, chances of the guy getting if they did a civil suit, he'll lose.
Yeah.
But because of the charges of what they did, if only it was lesser charges, but they gave him harder charges. They were going to go first degree, but they won't be able to prove it. And if the jury, I mean, if they stick to their guns of like, they would have to vote against what they're supposed to for this guy to go to jail. And I do think that he will be acquitted of this murder, and we're going to have some fucking riots like we've never seen. We're talking big time. I mean, like, think about it, man. This guy did murder that guy, but he's going to get away with it because of the technicality.
Is it too late to buy a gun?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, like, the fucking riots, dude. It was the world's rioting. You know what I mean? Like, over that video, when you've got the guy, everyone in the world is thinking, yes, this guy murdered him. Even I am thinking that, but he's gonna probably get away with the trial. Like, they're not gonna be able to get him on this. They might have to fucking sacrifice his fucking self. Like, even the judge will be like, hey, I know the jury said that you're not guilty. Put a bullet in his head, guys. Let's do it. I mean, like, fuck, dude.
Star court.
Dude, seriously, like, if he gets away with this, which it's looking pretty good because of this video, it's rough.
You mean it's looking pretty bad because of this video?
Well, okay, if you want to go that.
Good for him, bad for
him, but bad for fucking the world, dude. Because the world will not let that shit go. They will fucking riot for this. I mean, there ain't no peaceful protest. I mean, that's gonna be fucking cars flipping, hospitals burning, shit. Because they're gonna want the society to burn. Because I mean,
when does the trial start?
It's already. I thought it was in play. I don't know. They're arguing right now for I looked it up. I thought that too. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this? So
Because there's pretrial stuff like discovery and shit
mhm.
like that. Where they start looking at what kind of evidence they're going to be able to use and whatnot. And
they're trying to create a situation where there's no cameras and you don't even see the cop. Like there's no audio or video of the cop in the courtroom or some shit like that. Yeah, that's what they're arguing right now. I don't know, but I mean, it's not looking good. And the shitty thing is, no one's on this guy's side.
Well, I mean,
Nobody's on the side. It's just like people are okay.
It's still. I mean, I still can't think of a justification, even with what you described. I mean, I'll go watch the video when we get off, but it's still kind of hard to come up with a justification for him being on the dude's neck for 9 minutes.
Yeah, he's on his neck. He is on his neck for 9 minutes.
I mean, it's. And as an officer, if you see, hey, he's not all there, something's going on or whatever, you said yourself, you've seen the effects of this. So chances are this dude's also seen some of that too. You don't get that benefit of the doubt, because you're not ignorant.
Yeah.
And you're trained. So I don't know, Kev. I think he'll probably still. I think he'll still get indicted.
So you got a lawyer, right? You got defense, right? All you have to do is, did he pull this guy out of the car, put his knee on his neck to murder him? That's your goal. That's your goal to fucking prove. But the reality is, it escalates to this point.
Well, it's not murder one. What is it? It's murder. It's like
It's like, no, it's murder, but like
yes. It's like it's not manslaughter. It was something in between.
Yeah.
I remember it wasn't murder one.
I agree. I think like it's not too much premeditative. Like
right.
It's just like we just got in this situation and I murdered you. Not like manslaughter's like I ran my car over you by accident, or some shit like that. This is more of we got in a situation and I murdered you.
I made a decision that ended up in your death, but not.
I didn't plan this shit, but this shit like if I punched you and you died, like I shouldn't have done that, but I did, and it was a violent thing. So he goes and puts his knee on him, dude, and then the guy dies. So they're trying to prove that the knee to his neck is what killed him, but the coroner kind of like negates that, and then the autopsy negates that. You can argue that it's COVID, but all you have to do isn't prove that. This is what the defense has to do. They don't have to prove that he murdered him. You just have to disprove that he murdered him. You know what? There's a difference.
Yeah, you're right. This is the way we set it up. I mean
that is how we set it up.
We kind of err on the side of caution the way we have it set up. I mean,
yeah. You can't say that he murdered, like his actions led to his death. You could say all the actions that he did led to his death. And then the knee was the straw, but that's not the thing that killed him. It's if he hadn't done this, he hadn't done that. Because that's how Eric Gardner got away. It's not the fact that they choked him, which that's what they did. It was his heart was out of, he's out of shape, and his heart gave out while they were choking him illegally. Even though they were choking him, his heart gave out. So the defense argued that it was his unhealthiness. I mean, that's Eric Gardner. This fucking guy has COVID-19. He's got drugs in his system, and he's not paying attention. And there's a system of events that happened to this. It wasn't like, hi, and they put his knee on him. It's, hi, do this, do that. Shit's not happening. And then it gets to this situation. Like 40 minutes later. Like it takes a while to get to the situation where they kill him. Even
second-degree manslaughter, second-degree murder.
No, they're going with murder. That's the thing. If it was just manslaughter, they probably could have gotten the charge.
This was June 8th. Yeah, you're right. This was June 8th that I'm looking at right here.
Yeah, if it was just manslaughter, it would have been good. But because they're going for murder, meaning my actions resulted in his death, that's where we're going. But all they have to do is not prove that. They just have to prove that he had meth in his system, which they have, and he had COVID-19, which he was diagnosed. He even says it on the tape. He even says he's having trouble before they put him on the floor. Maybe that's the key right there. Right there. He's having trouble breathing. Why'd you put him on the fucking floor? You know, there you go. Maybe that's how they do it.
That might be the way that they got to go. It's
But
just,
then
he's already expressing that he had breathing issues.
there you go.
You already had him in a car. You already had him, detained.
It's all about the jury at this point. The jury will have to be adamant that because they put I think that, you know what? Maybe not. I mean, like, if the jury stays strong, but then OJ got off. You know what I mean? And black people were part of that. You know what I mean? Like, they made it a black. OJ is not like, I'm pro-black, you know. In fact, he fucking hated black people in the sense that he was like, I fucking got mine. Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
And then they started turning his fucking house into an African thing. And they made it black and white. But really, it wasn't. And the jury was like, DNA doesn't exist. Everyone has the same kind of DNA. I mean, they got it in their fucking heads that this is the thing. So I don't know. If OJ, who murdered that fucking lady, you know, got away, I mean, the evidence for this guy killing him isn't there. I mean, we see the videotape. So the jury has to stand firm on that. You know, it could be you know what? It might be a mistrial. That first trial will be a mistrial, probably.
Well, I hope whatever it is, I mean,
Dude, I fucking hope he goes to jail for life. I mean, like, I want this guy fucking gone. Dude, if it was up to me, he's gone. He's fucking gone, dude. And then when he's dead, he still gets to go to hell. You know, like, that's how I see it. I mean, fuck him and the horse he rode in on, and fuck the people who were there. That's how I feel. But I calls it how I sees it. I mean, like, I get it, man. I see how the purity of our system is, but that's the problem, right? So that's the argument of all the rioters, is the system is fucked up. You know what I'm about to change the subject matter, but you know how, okay, you get these Republicans, usually white, and they say that the system is fixed. So, you know, people have the same opportunities, you know, that other people have. And then I heard this guy's perfect argument for that. So you got Monopoly the game, right? And the rules weren't for black people, right? Okay. So they were outside the game, right? So white people or whoever, you know, they're playing the Monopoly game and they start buying up shit, right? Because you know how Monopoly works. You buy up shit, right? And now the rules are fixed. Everyone has the same rules. Now you put black people in it. But they can't buy Boardwalk.
it's already bought.
Everything's bought. So they're playing the same game. The rules are the same, but they can't. They're playing the same exact game that everyone else is playing, but before everybody else. And this is your argument for reparations, you know? It's like, what the fuck do we do? And like in the game of Monopoly, what's the safest spot when everything's already bought up?
Parking.
Or
go.
No, prison. Because you stay there. You do not pass go, but you just stay there.
Isn't free parking and prison the same? Oh, no, wait. They're on different sides. They're on different corners.
Parking. You're just...
Yeah.
But then you go to jail, and you get to stay there for a bit. You have to roll to get out. You have to roll doubles. So as long as you stay in jail, you're good. If you are lucky to buy a property, people are, you know, landing on your shit, and you just stay in jail. Just hopefully you don't fucking land on doubles. Get out. So, like, it works pretty good. So, like, here is this group of people who are now the rules are the same. And that's true. The rules aren't, you can't just go to a job and just be like, you know what, you're black, you're not getting, that doesn't exist. So everything's fair, but everything's already bought up. Yeah. So you can't buy shit. And like, you can then say, you can argue and say like, well, you think I fucking buy a house? I'm like, bitch, you can't buy a house at that amount. You know, like you got that because you had an upbringing that got you to that house. But the other fucking guys, they came from an upbringing of nothing, you know? And you could then argue there's outliers. outliers, right? That's an outlier. That's not normal people, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. Reparations, I was anti-reparations, but now I'm like thinking maybe we should really think about this for a second. The Indians got it pretty good. I mean, like, we took their land, but I mean, they get a check every month from the casinos and shit. They make good money.
Yes, but they're managing their resources, right?
No, they're getting paid. The government is paying them. They get free college. We don't give black people free college.
Their government is paying them. So that money is not coming from the United States. It's coming from the tribes.
We gave them land. They have sovereign land. That's why you can have UFC fights in their land,
right?
As opposed to in Vegas. No, without rules. Like if you ever watch a UFC fight in a fucking Indian reserve, and you watch a fight and they let that shit go, you just get the fuck shit killed. You get killed out there. I'm just saying, like, we didn't do that for black people. Like, black people just kind of like, they built a country and then they just got enslaved and shit, you know, and they're just trying to eke on by from then on. And like, you got to say, I mean, maybe there is an argument for reparations. And you're like, who the fuck pays this? I'm like, well, fuck. I mean,
I'd probably be more for affirmative action.
That's already in play.
It's been undone. Not fully, but it's still kind of there. But I think that would be better.
College for those fucks. That's what I say. Like, because, okay.
That's what I'm saying. College.
If they just have because it's like, I only have 100 slots. Who do I put in here? Oh, well, we'll put black people in here because, affirmative action. No, money. It's not easy to go in. You shouldn't go in and have debt. They should go in for free.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. It should be like an affirmative action type thing. You're right. Not just allocation of slots, but paying for it.
Because that's what affirmative action is really. We only got like 10 slots. We're going to give it to the black people versus I mean, like that's.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I'm talking about along the same vein, helping different people from different backgrounds get that equitable opportunity. Because you're right. I mean, I never thought of it like that, but yeah, I mean, the analogy is good. The game was being played for a long time. We only barely let them start kind of
in the
play the game in 1964.
Exactly. Right. And then like they're supposed to just figure it out. I mean, like there was this one guy, this cop, in Baltimore, and he retired, right? For injury, not because he didn't like it. It's just that he was like a black guy. And he found newspapers of the same crimes that were happening, forever. So like, it's like in these certain areas, the fucking crime just kept staying. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I was anti-reparations until I thought about it. And I was just like, fuck it, like I don't like the idea of free college for everybody. I think that's stupid. But, for black people, that's not like a huge population. That's just like, I think it's like 14% of America. Just let them all go to college for free. And if they don't do it, if they fucking suck, right? And that's going to happen. That's on them. But like, at least you gave them the path of opportunity, as opposed to, I don't think that you should just give them money, but I think that the path to opportunity, because if you go to college, you should, the stats are there.
College or job training. So like, like what ITT Tech was kind of, I mean, they're kind of defunct right now, but I mean, like nursing programs, things like that,
an apprenticeship too. Like it costs money to be an apprentice and to be a master apprentice or some shit like that, or journeyman. That's it. I mean, that costs money, but
even like truck driving school or something,
free.
Yeah.
And them, and like, and then of course, percentages of half black, half white.
Okay. Wait. So let's throw a wrench in there. Is it based on the color of your skin, or if you can trace your heritage or your roots back to slavery?
See, here we go. We have, in the year 2020, a swab. We got genetics, man. If we could fucking tell if you were related to Genghis Khan, then we could tell if you were a slave or not. And then percentages of that. They do it now. They have percentages.
They actually do it with Native Americans, depending on how pure your blood is, you get a certain amount of help or not.
That's where I'm at. You got 100% black or slave, and then percentages of that. And of course, it's been diluted. But at least there you are making a path.
What if you have some white people that qualify for it?
Let it happen. I mean, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. If a white person has like 30% slave in him or her, give them that 30%. You can't bullshit people. Like you can't. This. You can't do this thing where like only black is better.
Right.
We're trying to help. We're trying to move forward, and that's why a lot of shit's going on right now that is not working. Is because black is trying to be better.
Okay, how about this? If you could trace your ancestry back to being black in America before 1964, not as far back as slavery, but being black in America. Let's say you immigrated as black, and you were in America. You were never a slave, but you were also never in that position where the rules applied to you the same.
I hear you. That's why they should come up with a committee to decide the metric. At this time, that's when the monopoly was legal for everybody. And then that is when you start your timer. Because really, you just need college. And it wouldn't be that great of a percentage, though. It just wouldn't. Because you only got like 14% that's actually black or identify as black. And then now you're doing percentages off of that. So, I mean, that's not too bad.
But now, almost any minority that came in before 1964 was also put at the back of the bus. So now, is it anybody that immigrated to the United States and their families before 1964?
There's a difference between slavery and immigration.
So now we're changing it. Now we're going back to slavery then.
Yeah,
we're ignoring the time between slavery and 1964.
I think we should stick to the slavery.
because you're going to end up with like 50% of the country needing reparations.
No, you work like this. You work through the spirit of what you're trying to do. So slavery was bad, and then you created, like, from that, you were like, okay, you guys are kind of equal, and then you go from there. And then you're trying to fix that section of people. So, slavery to the point of, they can now play Monopoly. So you go in that vein. I'm sorry, it wouldn't work for like the Mexicans and everyone else that just kind of jumped in there.
Fuck you.
We're trying to fix the mistake that happened. Yeah. Like the Indians, like
our original sin, the original sin of the country, man.
Exactly. We fixed it for the Indians. I mean, like argue that we did it, but I mean, it's
there is no fixing it, right? I can't use that word, but start to not even make it right, man. But start to do something to bring them back to equity.
I know, because we did it for the Indians. That's all. Like, that's where I'm coming from. Is we did something. We haven't done anything. I mean, like, you can argue and say that like they have rights now, but that's not what we're trying to do. You could say that, well, affirmative action. No, that's not what we're trying to do. Like, Indians like literally get a check. And I'm not saying give them money. I'm saying college. That's it, or training program, and it's just a percentage of that. And then call it a day, and that's it, and then you fix that sin. That's it. And then what happens, this is the beauty of it. Over time, that shit's going to change, because now you have people who have means, and they're going to marry other people, and it will be diluted. And then over time, after about 100 years, it's going to be kind of hard to find a person who's 100% like descendant of slaves. They'd be like 10% or 5%, and right. Shit will just kind of, filter itself out. And eventually we not fixed, but at least, percentage wise over time, you kind of, worked towards that goal. That's what we should.
And I think you can incentivize people to take advantage of it too, by phasing it out, in steps. 20 years. Okay. We're bringing it down to here now.
Yeah.
Another 20 years, we're bringing it down to here.
You can just work through percentages. Like, if
you can, but then you might get people that are like, hey, I'm like still 100% black. You're still 100% black or slave or whatever.
That's not a reality though.
Yeah, but
you do genetic testing, we will meld. I mean, like, if like they create their own Aryan race, but I doubt they'll do that. I mean, it's literally going to dilute itself. And that's what we want. We want dilution, and that's going to happen. But at least we move towards that goal. And that's really what America needs to do. America needs to fucking take care of its own. I mean, that's what the fuck it is, right? And I mean, it's taxes. I pay for it. You pay for it. We're trying to solve a wrong, you know? And the fact that we're not, and I was so anti-reparations. Dude, I'm fucking anti-woke. But I mean, like, it just makes sense, right?
Well, I don't agree with reparations of, let's just start sending out checks.
I didn't say that. I said
Yeah.
Avenue that is not given to most people, like they just have free college, We do it for the fucking Indians, like, or the Native Americans, I'm sorry. But I mean,
well, again, we don't do it for them. They do it for themselves. But it was because they were able to manage their shit.
And we gave them land.
We gave them land. Yeah. But we're not maintaining it. We're not doing anything else.
No, but that's the beauty of it, though. They got land. They got boardwalk. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't give them a boardwalk. We didn't give them a Balto.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Anything.
And this one's harder because, we're the Native Americans. They kind of stayed, and they isolated themselves a bit.
Yeah.
But everybody else, we're all mixed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can't do the same thing. We get to say, okay, we're gonna.
Too late. That's it. That's
both. Give you this territory, black people, and you guys can do whatever.
What's sad is they did that in the beginning. They're like, hey, we're gonna do this. If you fight this fucking war, we'll give you this land. And they're like, yeah, fucking tight, right? And then they kill Abraham Lincoln, and that shit's fuck that. And like we fucked them at that point. And then so what do we have to do now? Well, we can't just give them land. That's stupid. And a donkey. That doesn't make sense. So what's the new land? What's the new equity? College. And then, like, I mean, as of now, if you make
or training or, but getting a certificate to get you into the higher pay scale. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically the Navy does that. Like, you don't have to go to college. You can be an apprenticeship, and use your GI Bill. It's the same thing. We've already done it. We already have a system in place to give people money for, like schooling. That's what you call it, schooling. And that's where we need to do. And there you go. And they go off of percentages. And I can guarantee over years, by giving people opportunity and they'll get better jobs, they're just gonna dilute more, and then it would just separate itself over time, creating more. It will raise all the boats.
If a minority getting reparations went into the service and got a GI Bill,
he could double dip. Fuck it, dude. If you get a cool system, no, dude, that's in place though. That's in place. You served the country, and we all agreed as a collective, I guess, that the military should be honored in that way. And right. So you a black guy, slave,
it stacks.
It's fucking right. You took advantage of country, and that's okay. From my point of view. And I'm not that guy. I'm not the fucking woke guy. But I mean, I'm going by logic. It just makes sense. Now, I'm not going to say that like everyone's going to take that opportunity all because you get free college. It doesn't mean you're going to fucking pass. And college is college. You know what I mean? They bloat those classes up. Yeah. I heard an economist talk about that, about the colleges, making them free and everything. Did I tell you about this? Did I talk about this?
I think we talked about it.
The reason why you have the bloat college, like meaning 4 years and 2 years or whatever the fuck, and you're taking biology to become a master's degree in math. The reason you have that is because you have these loans. And so the colleges, they're more apt to give you more classes because they can milk you for all that, because it's going to keep coming in.
Yeah.
So the economist said, like, what they should do is abolish these loans, because it doesn't make sense to give an 18-year-old a house loan, right? That will never happen. If I'm 18 and I want to buy a loan for a house, that's not going to happen. But for some fucking reason, you can get a loan with ungodly amounts of money, because college isn't cheap. You're talking about $100,000 a year probably. But you could do this for 4 years. You could keep getting these fucking loans that never go away. And for some reason, you could do that at 18, but you can't get a loan for a house. So what he said is get rid of these loans, and that this is what will happen. Colleges need money. So rather than charge where they're at, they're like, fuck. I mean, I'm going to have to lower my prices because you got, like, say there's 2 colleges, right? And one is like, fuck, I need to lower my $100 bill to $90.
Yeah.
And the guy's going to be like, fuck, if he's going 90, he's getting all those people.
Yeah.
I got to go there. And they're like, fuck, this is too expensive to have this amount of teachers. We're going to have less classes to shit out these degrees, because no one's going to come to me. So that means that you're only going to get the bare minimum of what you need to graduate,
Right.
I was blown away by this. I was like, the loans are what's damaging.
Yeah,
everything.
it is the fact that a lot of the loans are secured by the government, so the colleges don't take on the risk. So the colleges can up the price because really the money's coming from the government as a loan
Coming in,
and the kids are the students become slave to paying that loan back, and the risk is never on the college's books.
yeah.
And so they could just keep jacking up their price.
Exactly. And not just jacking up the price, but jacking up the classes. You need a home ec. You need a elective. You need to know Spanish to be an engineer. No, you don't.
Right.
You only need a few classes to become an engineer. It's supposed to be advanced learning. That's not advanced. You're fucking, Spanish to be an electrical engineer. Fuck you. You need to do judo to be an electrical engineer. Fuck you. Stupid as fuck.
Yeah, they made us take judo.
Math and fucking maybe construction or what the fuck. And just, it just blew my mind. So fast forward to let's make college free. Now how stupid is that? So college is already like, I'm getting paid no matter what. Now you're going to make it free? Nice. Now you need a master's.
Put more on it. Add more fat.
Yeah. Now you need 5 years of Spanish to work because I'm going to get paid no matter what.
This is a slippery slope, man, because you might have to nationalize the fucking colleges.
If you nationalize the colleges, then the colleges will just add more. Okay, so I'm a job.
No. Yeah, I'm saying that government starts stepping in and saying, no. You know what? Just like they do for the public schools, they tell them, they tell the public schools this is what they need to do before they graduate from high school. It's a state thing right now, right? You got these standards, you got these classes that you got to pass. Well, if they do the same thing for the colleges, that would limit the number of classes that they have to take. Now it's just depending on picking the college and the quality of professor that you have there, or the quality of technology or access to resources that the colleges have.
I theorize that if you do this, if you nationalize the colleges, this would just, because you don't need a college. You do now, but realistically, do you really need a college degree to have a job? So here you have a job who's like, all right, so
No.
I'm hiring people I could hire this high school kid because he's a go-getter, but no, there's too many of them. There's too many go-getters. I need college degrees, so it's rare. But now everyone has a college degree. Now how do I separate the college degree people?
Well, now everybody needs to have a master's degree.
Exactly. So here I am, 18, and I go to 24. I got my college. Well, now I need a master's degree, so I need to be 26. So here you are, 18-year-old who could have been working, now needs to be 26 to even get into the field.
Well,
That's
now,
your life.
Now start thinking about the people in power, and their kids. Some of them, they probably work hard, but a lot of them probably don't want to work hard because they've been entitled all their lives,
I would say there's a 90% chance if you're entitled. If you get money, you're not getting after it.
Yeah, right. And so there's no more incentive to try and get a degree. But now your kid's going to be having to compete with all these other kids that are getting free degrees. They might not vote against their own interests. You know what I'm saying?
Well, not just that. Let's just think of the incentive of a person. I want to make money, right? A person who's already making money, right? And he's got to be in college for fucking a quarter of a century, or a school in a quarter of a century. Life's been given to you on a silver platter. You're going to get college. And if there's a master's degree, you can get a master's degree as well. And once again, you haven't really learned anything because you've just been going to school this whole time. So a quarter of a century of an idiot, he's an idiot, or she, they've given everything. They haven't really had to work anything. They got 26 years of fucking school. And now they got to make decisions now because there's more of them that are going to get past the. Yeah, and then they're in places of power. and they're dumb, you know? At least with like places of power, you got, you know, somebody who worked to get there, you know, and now you've got, I don't know, free college and then master degree. That's where we're going to stand. That's where people are going to be separated.
I'm just wondering about people that would push back on, you know, leveling the playing field.
No one will. Like, it doesn't make other than conservatives, the mass majority will not push against free college. I mean, like, think about it. Conservatives make sense because we're like, well, where's the money going to come from, right?
Yeah, but the argument becomes, oh, that's socialism. And, you know, that's the boogeyman word that they use to scare a lot of people, and a lot of people fall for it.
We're not working off the incentives of people, because people work off incentives. And if you got a person working to free college, their incentive is to go to college, right? And then now they can get a job because they need a master's degree. Now their incentives are to get a master's degree. Now they're paying for master's degree. Now we're gonna have to fucking do a whole thing of we need free master's degree. Because we didn't learn from high schools. High schools used to be a thing where you had to get into, right? That was a higher education. I think it was like the 40s or 50s or something. I don't know, bro science. But you had to be something to get into high school. And then we were like, let's nationalize high school. And now you need a college degree to get a job. Before, you just needed high school and maybe you get a job. But now you need a college degree. And now if we make college free, it will be master's degree.
You know, in Mexico, that was not a good starting point, right? But in Mexico, up to 10th grade, everybody's learning the same stuff. But in 11th and 12th grade, you specialize into a specific job field. And so you have like welders or pipe fitters or, you know, business majors. They start in high school, you know, but all of their curriculum is kind of centered around what they plan on doing as a job once they leave high school.
That's pretty cool because you're getting the kids out there in the workforce.
Yeah, they go out there and they actually do the shit that they're training to do in their senior year.
Yeah, and that's cool too because then they come to America all skilled and at an early age. In comparison to, shit, you're 26 by the time you start working as a skilled worker, when you could have been fucking doing it at 18 and fucking up and learning from your mistakes. So say you're a fuck up, but it takes you 2 years to figure shit out. Now you're 20. You're a more experienced worker, better workers, better everything. And
it becomes 5 to 6 years less education or job training that needs to be subsidized by the taxpayer.
Yeah. And then like, hey, say 10 years later, you're where you need to be. You're 30 at 10 years later, and then you're a better worker, probably make more money, and you have more life to live. So you don't have to retire at 82 or some shit like that. Because that's where we're going. Great.
I'm gonna have to move a long time.
All right. Let me jump into another topic while I can. Are you fizzling out?
A little bit.
All right, we'll end on this one then.
All right.
There's so much. There was this like movie called Night Bitch I wanted to talk about. It's like this one chick who convinced herself she's turning into a dog. So they called the movie Night Bitch. And it's Amy Adams, the chick from fucking Man of Steel. That shit's hilarious, right?
Lois Lane.
Yeah, it's Lois Lane. And she's gonna be in a movie called Night Bitch, where she's like a fucking mother who is a I mean, I guess she's going crazy because her husband is working 5 days a week, and so she never sees her husband. So she's convinced that she's turning into a dog. So she gets violent with a cat. I don't know. It's called Night Bitch. Look into it.
Sounds great. I'm laughing already. It's not a comedy.
It isn't. It'd be like a horror movie, and I'm like, what? But that's not what I was going to talk about. What I was going to talk about is woke eating woke. The progressive the cancel culture. I told you that this is going to happen. As you cancel people, it will eventually become a thing where you're canceling each other, the very group that you want to be. So Ellen DeGeneres, right, was the ultimate cancel culture, right? She's like, you know, on that woke side, you know, pro LGBTQ. She's a comedian though. That's the fault. And they're trying to get rid of her. Her show of I'm lesbian, equality, progressive, fucking power to everybody, fucking positivity. That's her whole image. positivity. They're getting rid of her because she is too hardcore at her job.
Yeah, I've mostly just been reading headlines and first paragraphs. Sounds like a lot of people are complaining about how she is.
Yeah.
Whew. Sorry, guys.
Well,
A lot of people are complaining about, what it was like working on the sets and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to believe.
to produce a good show, you got to be fucking ruthless.
Sometimes the proof is in the pudding. Fucking Patton was a terror, right?
There you go.
But his men followed him because the dude got results.
Dude, I absolutely agree that she probably created a fucking terrible work environment because that's what gets you top shit, is being fucking ruthless. And I have to say, they're gonna cancel her the fuck out, and it's
Well, I think she said that she doesn't want to do the show anymore.
yeah, it's great though that she said that because okay, so here you are, king of the mountain, right? All these jobs rely on you. And you wanted to talk shit and say, this fucking lady's a hard worker.
I didn't think about that.
Good job, bitch. Now everyone doesn't have a job. So on your resume, you had, I'm on Ellen's job. I fucking worked at Ellen. And I could work anywhere. You know what I mean? Like at that level. Right? Because she's like number one, And whoever fucking argued or complained single-handedly got them. Because like the next guy who comes in, isn't going to keep a bunch of people who talk shit. Here he or she, they're thinking about this one guy who does the car karaoke. I forgot his name.
Corden.
Huh?
James Corden.
Yeah, that guy. They said that he's going to take over it. That motherfucker demands excellence as well. So I don't think he's going to roll in there like, oh, so I'm going to keep these traitors in. No, he
already has a show. Here's the thing. He already has a show. So is he going to do both?
He'd take that slot. She that hour.
But the point that you made, all those people are still losing their jobs.
Oh, I know. No, that's what I'm saying.
He's just gonna bring the people that do his show and do the thing with them.
That's my point.
Yeah, they all screwed themselves.
Yes, like every.
But I don't know. I haven't read fully into it because I really don't give a shit. But was there something about like sexual misconduct in there on her part?
Not her, but like the
other people
created the environment for it.
Okay.
To the top, which I agree. If you're a shitty person at the top, it's gonna roll downhill. But I mean, it's not shitty. I mean, fuck that. That's what gets results. She just created an environment of fucking get after it. Like Steve Jobs wasn't a great guy. He was a fucking asshole, and everyone around him like it just created that mentality. He died. Before cancel culture, Ellen's going to fucking bolt out. She doesn't need, what she has to do?
She really doesn't need to work anymore.
No, she just retires, let this cancel culture die out because it comes out, it comes in waves, right? Cancel culture will just kill itself by eating everybody who's ally. So say I'm like pro cancel culture. Oh yeah, fucking let's get rid of all these anti-gays and anti-this, anti-that. And then they get rid of me because I'm anti. And then they get rid of those guys because they're anti. Because they literally had like black people versus black lighter people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First it was just getting rid of black people who are anti-black. Now it's anti-lighter black. It's going to get idiots, like this. That's cancel culture. And like check it out. So give me a second here. So you got Ellen, right? And then at the same time this is going on, you got an attack on all fronts with this whole cancel culture. So you got Joe Rogan, right? He's like the beacon of I'm a centrist, I'm with the left, I'm with the right, I'm in the center, I'm intellectual. That's who he is. And I'm because I'm a fight commentary, I'm the man, I'm a normal guy, right? That's who I am. He's like an Ellen, but for like dudes, right? Okay. And so we need to cancel him out. That's what we need to do because we got rid of Ellen. We got to cancel him out. This is my conspiracy theory, but it's kind of weird. So he's got a group of friends who created podcasts as well, and that's his network. So if you can't get the guy, you have to get the lieutenants. That's how it is. So he had this one guy, Chris D'Elia, who's a fellow comedian, podcaster, same fucking thing, right? They got rid of him because chicks are like, oh yeah, he tried to rape me, but he did. But they're not making the accusation. No rape. It's just there's tweets of him talking to him like in a like let's fuck, but he doesn't know how old they are. And they're like young, like below 18. And then they got rid of him because of that. But if you look at the tweets, it turns out, oh, you're this age? Fuck that, but that's not how this works. This game is played by this. Hey, you said the one thing in this context, you're fucking gone. They got rid of him. And then, okay, so like there's Joe Rogan, and right next to him is Brian Callen. Brian Callen's like right fucking there. Like that's his like left hand man, like almost like there, like his left hand. It's not, there's another guy, but they haven't gotten rid of him yet. And they said that they pulled out the big one. It's rape. This one chick 22 years ago said that she was raped by this guy. And he's like, what? And this guy's an intellectual too. He's like a centrist. And he's like, I didn't fucking do this, but it doesn't matter. We canceled you. And then so now it's going to be a guilt of – so now instead of trying to get rid of the guy because we couldn't find anything, obviously we couldn't find anything. Or maybe this is a prelude to getting rid of him.
Right. By association.
Exactly.
Look, he was friends with all these other dudes that got canceled. So
obviously he's a fucked up individual, and that's the key. This cancel culture is coming. It's coming strong too. It's crazy. Actually, I had this one comedian podcaster I listened to, Tim Dillon. He's outside of this loop. So you have the podcasters that are famous, and then he's outside of the loop. He's becoming famous, and he's like, "Well, it looks like the comedy show or." In LA, that's where the Comedy House or whatever the fuck, I don't know what it's called, but it's by Irving. Yeah, that's it. He goes, it looks like I'm gonna be the only guy there because all these other people are getting canceled out. Yeah, Louis C.K., yeah, this guy, all these comedians are getting taken out by fucking some allegation that's not even a thing in which it's like it's a strong allegation. It's like kind of a light one that can then get disputed, but because it made the news, they get taken out. That's the new thing now. So you took out Ellen. I don't know what this is because it seems like we're canceling people that actually have like a metric to move the people.
Right.
Like you got Ellen. Ellen says something, people kind of go with it. Joe Rogan says something, people kind of go with it. These two fucking powerhouses are getting taken out. So I wonder is this a thing in which, I don't know, like, let's have COVID-19, let's have aliens, let's have that, let's get rid of these people who talk. It's like we're going after Socrates. We're going after all these fucking, these philosophers.
I feel like it's almost like a one-up, like, people see other people become like important or influential, and they think they got some kind of dirt on them, and that they're going to be helping a lot of people by exposing something they did a long time ago that maybe they themselves are misinterpreting or they've misremembered, that they've twisted it into something else that maybe it wasn't at the time, or maybe they're judging something based on today's values that happened a long time ago.
That's a thing.
And so they want to come out, and it's, those people that they heard about something and they want to be the first ones to tell people that they heard about it.
That's called the media.
Yeah, but you've got people that do that too. Those people that they do the sewing circles, and they'll be like, oh, you know what I heard about so-and-so? Well, you heard it from me first, blah, blah, blah.
It's gossip bitches, dude. And I have to say, like, is it a thing? And is this human evolution where we have to fucking eat our own? Or is this a part of a grander plot, Because these people.
No, I think it.
You think that people just kind of naturally move?
I think it's just human tendency. I think it's just, hey, somebody else is going up. Let's fuck them over and bring them down because I can.
Yeah, it sucks still because these people move influence in a positive way. Ellen is a very positive person. I mean, whatever, like working for her kind of sucks. Maybe she shits on you all the time, but she's a positive influencer, like be peaceful, do this, good, accept gays, that kind of bullshit, right? And Joe Rogan, same thing, same bullshit, like let's be better than we were yesterday, that kind of thing. And they're getting taken out. And is it a thing in which people decided, like, is this evolution where people are like, I don't want to be better, I want to be shitty, let's take these people out, good guys need to die?
I don't think they're thinking about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. I think it's just there's this self-righteousness that comes out of some people, and they think that they're gonna help people and become important by outing, something that maybe they themselves know this isn't that wrong, but if I say it the right way, it'll have more weight to it. And damn it, I'm gonna be able to help people by doing this. That's where you get when people go to the media instead of going to the police or going through the formal channels of making allegations and stuff. But damn, yeah, I mean, when it starts eating its own, all of a sudden, what kind of leaders do you have?
Yeah, I know. It's who takes up that power vacuum, when you got positive. So Ellen goes, you get the other guy, and he takes over. I mean, fuck. I mean, like, we're not.
Not necessarily like a power vacuum, but who do you look up to now?
Exactly. If you take out these fucking heroes, and then somebody else jumps in, and there's a reason we're not talking about them to begin with. We're not talking about karaoke guy. We're talking about Ellen. You know what I mean? Like, Ellen is right here. The other guy, he's like an up and comer, but he's not Ellen. You know what I mean? So you take out Ellen, you get this fucking guy. So is he the new Ellen, or is he going to be a lesser version? So I don't know. And then Joe Rogan gets taken out. Like, that's where I see that coming, man, because they're taking out. And when they took out Brian Callen, I was like, I mean, like, you're not in that kind of circle, but I'm just saying, like that guy was like, you might as well have taken out Joe Rogan. And like, this whole podcasting thing isn't a thing without this motherfucker, like.
I feel like Joe Rogan's taking some risks though, but
they're not taking him out.
Yeah, I don't think they have anything on him that's solid.
Oh, dude, I know.
Otherwise, they would have done it by now.
Right? Or maybe he has. I mean, like, because that guy, I mean, like, you don't become famous and not fuck around. I mean, if you're a dude. I mean, chicks, I don't know. But I mean, like, you get that power, you fucking.
Well, look what happened to James Gunn. That guy too, just dug up something from the past.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about fucking, obviously, but, just.
They took him out. He was out shit against the Republicans. He was like, he started making a voice of himself, and he was getting power though. He was getting badass. He made Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know what else, but I mean, like, he was becoming a voice. So when he said, like, these Republican bullshit, meh, 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 and then people were like, you know what? Fuck you. How dare you say this shit? Because you're no better. And then they pulled up some fucking tweet that was 10 years old, even though he apologized for it before this.
But see, but I don't know. Those people that dug up the tweet, it was more like a gotcha thing.
It is.
I don't know how strongly they feel this way or that about
his
political views. I think it was more of like a we got something that can bring you down.
It's sad too, because nobody knows who this person is. Like, I mean, yeah, we could look it up, but I don't give a fuck. Wow. Like the people who get these people, they're doing it in vain. They're just destroying people and then becoming nothing in the ether of fucking the cosmos. You just took down somebody, and then it's cool because you're the person who did it, but nobody knows who you are. Like kind of like Troy, no one's ever gonna remember your name. You did this shitty fucking thing. No one's ever gonna know you, and it's true. I don't know who's the person who got James Gunn, who's the fucking guy who got Kevin Spacey, who's the guy who got Cosby. These people, I don't know. I don't know who they are. And that's the story of you. You're the one who took out these heroes. I'm not saying, I mean.
Yeah, you're not defending any of them.
I'm not defending them, man. But Cosby did a lot of good for fucking humanity, He did some bad shit, but I don't know who the person is that took him down.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King did some shit too, but I don't know the people who reported any of this, and then we just move on. And well, we've done it before, so I don't know what is going on. I think this is like the evolution of humans. Like, we just like to take down heroes.
It's sensational, and it gets views, it gets attention.
But say it's you, the person who took somebody out. No one's gonna know who you are ever.
But what's the point of taking down Ellen DeGeneres?
I know, right?
What does that do? I mean, who does that help?
Who doesn't? I think there's an instinct that this is gonna make me famous, and it didn't. It didn't happen.
Yeah, because I mean, there's got to be instances, whistleblowers, right? There's got to be instances where they're trying to stop something bad from happening. Now, was Ellen? I don't know, right? But I mean, was Ellen creating? I mean, a toxic work environment is just a place that sucks to work at, right? But was it toxic to the point where you were violating people's rights to work?
Here's the trippy thing: it doesn't matter. Just that you said it was a toxic work environment, you could throw in sexual. You saw the hashtag sexual, misconduct. You could say racist conduct, and then it has nothing to do with her. You just had the word in there within the sentence: sexual, racist. Done. It just doesn't matter. And then I will never know who were the people who called these people out, and nor do I care, and nor will anyone else. It's just like that's just the way it is. I mean, people just want to take down these heroes.
Like the Joe Biden sniffing thing?
Yeah, I don't know who's pointing these shit out, but that's all we see is Biden doing that. Have you seen him talk at all?
He sounds old.
I know, but I mean, recently, have you ever seen him talk? He doesn't talk. You just see a blurb of him saying something, but you're not seeing him talk. The last time I've heard him talk, he literally said, "Black people, if you're not voting for me, you're not black." That's the last thing I've ever heard him say.
They're not letting him talk, is the thing.
It's weird,
He's
right?
winning by keeping his mouth shut.
And that's our president. Our president that's going to be Trump is the guy who is not saying anything. And the only thing he does do is say, whatever Trump did, I could do better. That's the guy.
But
that's his, I watch his advertisement.
I think that's still better than what we got right now.
But that's his advertisement. His advertisement isn't, I could do this. It's, Trump did this, I'll do this. So when Trump is gone, what are you going to do? Well, I don't know. Because there's no Trump for me to say whatever he does, I do better. You could say, yeah, I did this, I did that. That's going to get old fast,
I don't know, because, I mean, yeah, politicians are usually looking out for their own self-interest, right? They're trying to get elected again. But Trump went and put people in that just wanted to fucking clear the store out,
But he was doing something, though. That's the thing. He was just doing something. He was like, I'm going to do this, and he did it. Here you got a guy who is only working off a counter of another guy. He's not doing anything. He's just counter of another. In fact, it's so bad that he's as vice president is basically whatever virtue I can get. Well, Floyd died, so I need a black phoenix.
Yeah, I kind of don't like that,
He's saying that, he's not saying it. But
he did say it. It was a press release from him, but yeah, they're saying it.
Yeah, they're saying it. He's not. So
I'd rather they didn't say it. I'd rather it just happened.
Yeah.
Without them saying way in advance that we've pretty much closed all doors to men and white people.
You know what my prediction is? So elections are in November, right? I think that the trial for Floyd will be a catalyst. So say it's August. So August. September is going to happen. They're going to fucking make this guy innocent. The riots will go out of control. Fucking chaos. We'll lose cities. Millions die. And then they're going to be like, it's fucking Trump's fault. And then that's how Biden gets in. That's it. There's no other way around it.
Fuck.
It does seem like
It does depend on the timing.
it's so weird that all this shit's happening right before the election. We literally shut down the country right before election. Like, this Floyd guy dies, and like there's so much footage before him dying, but that wasn't released until recently. I mean, it's just a bunch of little weird things that are happening all at once, just as we're about to go hit the election season. And it's like a thing in which we're like, oh, it's Trump's fault.
Trump's not helping things, right? I think most people are saying that. I don't know that anybody that's been paying attention is saying Trump caused COVID-19.
Holy shit! I think
Trump caused racism,
okay.
Right?
It feels like Trump caused racism and COVID-19, even though he didn't.
He didn't.
Yeah, but it feels like it.
But fuck, man, if that dude didn't make things worse,
there's nothing he could do. He just took the fucking hit for it. You know what's weird is, so he comes out with the medication, right? And he's like, yeah, this medication fucking works. He should never have said that, because now it's a thing in which I'm a doctor and I'm going to be like, who'd you vote for? Okay, yeah, then you should take this, you know? Well, who'd you vote for? Oh, you voted for Trump? Yeah, take this. This works. You know, like, that's not something that should be debated
right,
on the news. That should have been something science figured out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if science says, yeah, if you take this antiviral med, it kind of works. But instead, it's like, you voted Trump, you know, you're dumb.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he kind of politicized some of it, right? Because
He's not that
he said something, science said something else, and then he started attacking the scientists.
Well, he's not the guy who prescribed himself that. You know what I mean? Like, he's the president of a sovereign nation of America. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're fucking Australia or fucking Zimbabwe. It's America. Somebody said, hey, this shit's going to work. And he took it and he's like, this shit's working. And he's like, hey, look. And he's like just a guy's guy. He's like, look, this shit's working, right? Because people told me this shit. And then people are like, oh, fuck this piece of shit. How dare he? This guy doesn't know shit. I mean, why is he stupid at one point, but he's not stupid at another? He's just repeating shit that he heard, you know, from other people who are at the top. So then it became a thing.
I'll kind of accept that some people go against him just because he said something, right?
But where is he getting his info? It's not like he's pulling it out of the fucking ether. It's not like he's taking pills because he just wants to take pills. Someone had to prescribe that, and somebody had to explain it to him. He is the president of the United States. So you couldn't just say, hey, if you eat this Twinkie, you're going to be healthy, right? You'd have to have some kind of fucking knowledge.
Well, we don't know if he was really taking hydroxy anyways. He could have said he was taking it, but not really taking it.
I'm pretty sure that would be a thing.
That's like, you know, oh yeah, come sign on this reverse mortgage. You know, the motherfuckers ain't doing reverse mortgages themselves.
I hear you, but there's no way on this earth that the president takes a medication and you don't know about it. That's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. If it's you can take whatever you want, and I don't need to know, but not the president of a sovereign nation. If he takes something, somebody's going to say something and be like, he's not taking this shit. Or he's taking this shit. Either way, someone's going to say something. It's not like he's like some guy in the shadows. He's out there in the open. He's exposed. Anything he takes and lies, it's going to be exposed. Period.
I don't think so, dude.
Oh, right? Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't think so. I think...
Oh, wait, prove it then.
I don't know that he really took hydroxy.
No,
I mean, I think he just said it.
There's no way.
People up.
There's no way he can just like take a medication, like lie and say that he took a medication. Not because he's like some covert assassin or some shit like that. Someone would have said something. For him to get something, he can't even own a cell phone. That's the thing. Even Obama said it. He can't even own a cell phone, let alone take his own medication. Somebody gives him this shit. period. There'd be a doctor who said, I never prescribed him that. He's never taken that medication. Somebody would have said something.
No, his current doctors haven't spoken up. Neither of his former ones. And I don't think they'd be allowed to. They'd probably lose their fucking license.
They would have said something.
Not his personal positions. At least not yet. Not until later.
I don't think he's lying about that medication. There's no game to it.
I'm open to the possibility of him lying. I'm also open to the possibility of him kind of compelling the doctors to tell him, hey, you know what? Give me this shit.
What would be his game? Like, he's not a genius. Dude, this guy is not.
Because he had been talking it up before he started taking it.
Unless he has like some significant stock option to it, there's no gain to it. He's taking it because someone told him to take it.
We don't know that either. We're always learning shit. We just found out that he had asked a fucking American diplomat to try and press the British to move the British Open to one of his golf courses.
Through a sentence, through sentences of what you're saying, you can manipulate whatever. Well, we're talking about taking medication. This has nothing to do with, hey, you know what'd be cool is if we had this here or some bullshit like that. He said, dude, this guy has no medical background, nothing.
Right.
For him to fucking say, I didn't even know this medication existed until he said it. He was like, yeah, this fucking shit works. Dude, somebody told him that. Like the UV light, when he says, yeah, man, COVID-19, UV light fucking works on it. He is correct.
Okay, he's also telling he's correct. He's also telling everybody to take the Z-Packs along with the hydrochloroquine, hydroxy.
He's not the guy to come up with the shit. He is not that guy. He is the guy who hears shit and then says shit. Somebody's telling him that.
I would agree. Somebody else that probably does have an interest.
And no, that knows something. I mean, that's a real thing to take an antibiotic with an antiviral medication.
You want to put the entire country on antibiotics?
Yeah, no, that's not what he was doing. What he was doing is parroting, and he does it all the time. He's not trying to do shit. He's just parroting what people tell him. That is his fucking MO. People tell him shit, and then he says shit. And then like a weird fucking thing is happening with you and a lot of like woke people is he's smart at one point and manipulative, and then he's stupid at another. It's one or the other. You just can't be like, you know what? This guy's fucking a master genius, or no, he's an idiot.
No, I'm not saying he either does or doesn't know his shit about
no strategy here.
Medicine. It's he's using it as a political tool.
No,
because nobody had an answer, and he came up with an answer. It goes back to that old school playbook of when nobody is hearing an answer for something, they'll go to the first person that does offer a reprieve.
I agree, but he's saying something that somebody else told him, and everyone's making it a thing in which.
Yeah, but he's the president of the United States. He should have the responsibility of making sure that this thing that he's going to parrot has been vetted and verified, and that is in fact a solution.
That here lies the problem. So he said something, and then rather than try to figure out whether or not he's right, we're literally having a mass censorship thing where it's like any video that says something about let's take hydrochloroquine or whatever the fuck, that gets censored right off the bat because it's called misinformation, false report. I have Facebook.
Not right off the bat. It's out in the open. Those things have been out in the open. They've been vetted, and it's like, you know what? These are just blatant falsehoods, and it's not the ones about hydroxy. It's the other one.
Have you ever Googled it?
Hydroxychloroquine?
Yeah. If you actually Googled it, it's weird. It gets weird. It's articles that are now that dispute these are all false negatives and this, that, and then when you read the report, it's really based off of some one study where it's like that. Then you get if you go to Snopes or DuckDuckGo, like a different search engine, and then you go further back before March, before he even said anything, you can actually find studies where it's like, this shit kind of works. Now, I'm not a fucking scientist here, nor do I give a shit. I'm just saying that it gets kind of fucking weird where because he said something, created a catalyst for negative information on this in the sense that this is what should happen. This works. Okay. And then you have half people saying no, it doesn't work, or half not completely, it doesn't work. Yet he's still repeating this shit. Why is he repeating this shit if it's not real? It's because someone is telling him that it's fucking real.
He'd already doubled down. He had already said it, and he's not going to go back because that's not what he does.
Yes, he does go back on it. He really does go back on a lot of things. He'll
without admitting that he's going back on something.
Exactly. So eventually you would have had him say something to the effect of, this shit ain't working. I never took it. He would have literally said, that's how he works. That is his MO. 1 + 1 is 3. And then he gets to a point, I never said 1 + 1 is 3. It's 1 + 1 is 2. He's never done that. He's sticking to his guns. Do you know why he's sticking to his guns? Somebody is telling him this shit. I don't know who, but somebody's telling him. And I'm not saying that this shit works or it doesn't work. It's just that a thing where some doctors are actually prescribing this shit. So if doctors are prescribing this shit, this must be a thing. Because doctors will prescribe painkillers just to do it.
Well, what he should have said, we're going to look more at this correlation between hydroxychloroquine use among was it lupus patients and as an anti-malarial drug. What are the reasons for the lower incidences or the lower severe cases of COVID-19 in people that are taking this drug? Is it because of the drug, or is it because of a combination of things that are being used to treat, whatever is accompanying, lupus and malaria? Why does this seem to be working in this situation rather than just saying it's working here, everybody should be taking it?
That's what a leader does.
No.
Yes.
No, dude.
That is what a leader does.
A leader does that once they know.
A
leader does that once they know. A leader does that.
All right, so here you are. You are the president. I am a doctor. You're going to listen to me because I'm a doctor, right? This is figuratively, right? I prescribe something to you. It fucking works for you. You're not a doctor. I am. I'm not just any doctor. I'm the doctor to you because you're the president. I gave you shit. It works. This shit's the thing. Now, you're in a crisis situation. You gotta, if you're a leader, in a leader position, you're not going to just be like, well, we need to figure some shit out. No, you go, this is what we're doing.
Wait a minute. We don't know that it works fully.
No.
It so far, I haven't gotten sick.
No,
but it might not be because of the hydroxy. It might not be because of this thing. It's like trying to prove a negative. You also don't know unless I go and I lick a doorknob or something, or I inject COVID-19 into my body while I'm taking this drug. There's no way to know.
You're the president of a fucking free country, like the most powerful person in the world, and the doctor to you says, this is what we're doing.
That's why I doubt that he really took it.
Dude, you don't just say shit. And then, at that level, without someone telling, this guy does. UV radiation is a study that happened. Okay.
Yeah, that one makes sense. That
UV radiation is a study that happened, and then he regurgitated that shit. You couldn't come up with two things. You couldn't just make up hydrochloroquine. That's not a thing you make up. That's UV radiation isn't a thing that's something you hear and pair it out. That as a president, it's like that shit wouldn't have got to him if this guy is watching Fox News about himself.
It's because hydroxy was one of the first things that came out as a possible solution, and he grabbed it and ran with it. Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
He was prescribed it. That's how he.
No, that didn't come. He didn't admit to taking it until 2 months after the motherfucker started talking about it.
No.
Then he said that was when he let slip. Oh yeah, I take it.
It was.
He goes, I've been taking it for a couple weeks now, and it just sounds like a fucking lie when he's saying it.
No, he had a cough, and people were trying to push that he had COVID-19. That was a thing. It was like the Scarlet Letter. They were trying to say who had COVID-19 within the government. So a bunch of Republicans were getting it. It was a weird thing. And so he got it. He had a cough. He didn't have COVID-19, but he was tested. And it was a thing where, he's not tested. He's been tested. And it was a weird thing, right? Then finally he gets this medication, hydrochloroquine. This fucking guy doesn't know shit. He's just saying shit that people give him. And like, I could see it. Like, here I am, the fucking president, and you're telling me this shit. You wouldn't lie to me because I'm the fucking president. Right? I'd be like, is this guy fucking for real? Okay, well, fuck. Same thing with the UV radiation. That wasn't
I don't know what you're trying to get at, Kev. Are you trying to say, are you trying to defend him pushing hydrochloroquine?
in a
Kind of sounds like it.
kind of way, because he is the president. So for knowledge to get to say, okay, I'm saying that this guy works like this. 1 + 1 is 3. That's how he is. Then the mathematician tells him, hey, no, it's 1 + 1 is 2. He's like, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. He'll say that. And then people eat him alive and say, oh, he doesn't know math. He doesn't know what he's doing. But he's just repeating shit people tell him. So like the level of saying UV radiation fucking works on this thing, that's not something he just pulled out of the fucking ether. Like he couldn't have guessed that. He's not that guy. He's what he is this. Tell me. Okay, boom. And that's what he does. And then he goes, look, I'm so fucking, and he pats himself on the back. I'm so smart because fucking I know shit. But he doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything. What he does is repeat whatever people tell him. Now, my big issue here is the hydrochloroquine. That's a thing where it needs more work. But because he said something, because someone gave it to him, it's not going to go through the right process. It's just not. Because you pray to God, he doesn't say cancer's a bad thing. That's where I'm at. Because if you were to say what bad thing, people are going to go the opposite.
No, because peer review, when doctors do studies, all of that is vetted, and everybody wants to be the first one to figure something out. And then they vet the shit out of it to the point where if it's accurate, it's accurate, and it'll come out that it's accurate.
That's wrong. That's wrong because you think that studies work like this. Studies, boom, done.
That's not what I'm saying.
What I'm trying to say is there are probably studies that need to have been done, but they won't be done because of this.
No, there's always going to be somebody that's going to tackle it to try to disprove it, but then end up proving it. And they have to publish their shit because people paid for it.
No, that's not how studies work. You can only publish a study that's vetted and then it's proved.
No, you can publish whatever you want.
That's
how peer review works, dude. You publish it, and then other people go in and they savage it if they can.
You cannot. You can. That's a thing that I wanted 10 years ago. Is studies to be published that were wrong. Any study that's wrong should be published, and it should be on like an internet kind of thing. But that, for some reason, I don't know why, but if it's a study that fails, it can't be published. But if it's a peer-reviewed study that passes, in a way, you can do that. In fact,
you have to publish to be peer-reviewed. That's the idea. Peer review is not a formal process.
Peer
review is not the idea of peer review is that you publish something and then your peers check it out. They review it. And then they call you out on your shit. And then you have that discussion in medical journals and now blogs and emails and stuff. Peer review is not a formal thing.
There's a group of people. There's 3. A group of people that had peer-reviewed studies that
what you got cut out. That what?
Wait, give me a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. There's a group of scientists, right? And they were trying to prove that academia got hijacked by the woke crowd. And so what they did was they created fake studies, of dog rape is real and things like that. And of the fucking studies that were fake, 3 of them got approved and then published because it coincided with academia's thought process. You know what I mean? Like, so what is the accepted thing? 1 + 1 is 2. So you can do a study that goes that way. Now, say you're trying to prove 1 + 1 is 3. That's not going to get through because the group of people are like, nah, fuck that. That's not going through the committee. But the committee is only accepting woke things.
Again, there's no formal peer review process. There's no formal publishing process. And the people that they gave the study to peer review, those are people that they pick before they go ahead and publish it out loud. So publishing is you finally saying, like, hitting publish on an internet website to share it with the world. That's what it means to publish.
Here,
You're putting it somewhere for other people to see.
I would equate it to something you understand. So you have YouTube, right? There are other versions of YouTube, like say BooTube or CuckooTube or something like that. Well, we're not on there. We're on YouTube, right? That's the main one. You might as well publish your video on BooBooTube or TacoTube. That it's like as if you're screaming at the walls. The real guy is YouTube. The science, it's like some science journal or whatever the fuck. Anyone worth their merit get on this fucking thing.
Right.
And that's the reality. What happened?
That's not formal either. That's not a formal thing. That's just, hey, you know what? You want to get into our journal? We want you to have something peer reviewed before you come into our journal.
And that's where
Again, that's an editing thing. That's like a newspaper thing.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like just as YouTube can censor out this hydrochloroquine study, they could do that.
Right.
That because they could say it's spreading misinformation. They can say whatever the fuck they want, really. But then like flat Earth, that's everywhere. Flat Earth can go everywhere. You want to build a rocket that kills yourself to discover flat Earth? Go for it. Fucking do it. But for some reason here, we just draw the line because it's political. That's what YouTube can do. Science journals can do that too as well. You can prove that this medication it works, but we won't let it because the red man said, you know what? He tried it. It's not like he just made that up. He just came up with it. No, somebody prescribed.
Somebody told. I agree. Somebody told him,
and then he just
heard it from somewhere,
and he fucking went with it.
and he ran with it.
The person who prescribed that and the person who did that didn't just fucking just say, you know what? I'm gonna fucking.
Well, it's because people said that we need to study this more, and then he attacked them. He turned it into a political thing, not anybody else.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He turned it into a political weapon.
But regardless, there is a medication out there that needs studies. And all you're getting is the studies that failed in that respect. And you trust me when I say this, it could be a thing in which I go, we got 100 people. Yeah, we studied. It doesn't work. Like just like dog rape is real in parks, you know, how misogynistic dogs are raping. You know what I mean? Like that's such a fake fucking thing. You can do that as well with this fucking thing. And I'm just saying, like, this guy who came up with this hydrochloric, I mean, he came up with UV light and everyone shat on him for it. And I'm like, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at in science. This shouldn't be where Trump says it. In fact, if there's studies, and there is studies on this, when I go to Google a fucking study, I should immediately see the other studies, but I don't. What I see is studies like this shit failed. This shit failed.
Well, there's algorithms and shit too. You know, what are people seeing?
But it's a thing though. But like if you go to another search engine that is kind of like, I guess, like, you know, up in the air, because they don't have their foot in the door, so they have nothing to gain or lose. So they're just like whatever. Like then they start posting up the other articles when you go to look. You're not searching how this worked. You search how does.
Well, I mean, I will say this. I mean, hydroxy has been used for a long time in the military when they go and serve in Africa. And stuff like that. So, I mean, we kind of already do have a lot of data on it.
It is real that you would take a antiviral with an antibiotic. That's a real thing. You would do that for a secondary infection. What his goal was to say is, hey, man, this shit worked for me. I mean, that's what this shit is. Somebody prescribed it to him and said, this shit works.
Well, we don't know that it worked for him either.
I don't know either. And that's where I'm getting at. Like, the science should dictate whether or not this is a thing. It should be taken out of the conversation. In fact, it isn't. It's been politicized. And you say he did it. I don't give a fuck. What happens is we're taking science out of the equation. And now it's getting weird because there's science that's backing up whatever fucking opposing point that you have. So if fucking guy said he should do this, say cancer is bad.
Well, I mean, even his own task force isn't fully behind him on hydroxy, though.
I don't care. I want him to say cancer is bad. I really do. I want him to test the waters. Say cancer is bad. Say child rape is bad. And I want to see what happens. Because he really should test this out. Because when he said that this works, it shouldn't have been an argument. It should have been studies and then some, not opposing to what he said. Because there's a reason why doctors are.
Well, that's the other thing, dude. He doesn't have the confidence of the nation, you know?
No, of course not. Fuck. Would you? I don't. He's a terrible leader. He's a terrible leader. He is the oldest.
And that's kind of the situation. I mean,
but science should stay out of this.
That's kind of the situation that we find ourselves, you know, as teachers in. It's just, if our kids don't trust us, even if we give them good advice, they're not going to take it.
That's true.
You know, and so it's a failure of leadership, because he's been saying so many wrong things for so long that, you know, even if there's an ounce of truth to it, you're right, there's an automatic pushback.
But there's
not for me, because, you know, I would rather trust, you know, the medical community to make the decision. But
your doctor should make the decision whether or not you take that pill or not.
Well, I think he should be backing off on attacking people that are willing to vet it, because I think all it does is antagonize people even more.
Well, fuck him and the horse he rode in on. It shouldn't be, he can attack or not attack. Science should dictate everything. If he said, hey, we should attack these people who think Earth is not flat, I mean, it doesn't fucking matter, because it's science. Science doesn't give a fuck whether or not, but he's created a situation where people are backing up the opposite of what he's saying, you know? And I really do think that if a doctor's willing to prescribe a medication like this in hopes of defeating this, I mean, I've worked with a lot of doctors. They're not just going to do that.
Right.
You addicted to painkillers because it's just easier. But
that's where my doubt that he even took it comes in, because
But they wouldn't have said it though. He would not have known about it. There's no way he would know about it unless he got it prescribed.
He could have said, okay, guys, I want every fucking possible, you know, drug or cure on my desk now.
Yeah.
You know, and then we got hydroxychloroquine. Okay, good. I'm going to give him that, because fucking, you know, the person that comes up with the first answer is the one that everyone's going to follow.
Dude, there's hundreds and hundreds of other fucking medications he could have took and went with it. But he landed on that. And the reason he landed on that is because somebody said something. In fact,
because our military takes it when, you know, as a precaution.
Yeah, but our normal doctor would not have fucking prescribed that. A normal doctor would not have prescribed it unless it fucking worked. I mean, that's how they work.
Or at least if it didn't hurt.
They're not working off of, like, what's the easiest? Actually, that is what they're doing. What's the easiest fucking thing that works? This worked. I'm doing it.
I don't know that I wouldn't be surprised if later on we find out that he had a fucking stake in, you know, people that make hydroxy.
Dude, if that's the case, he'd go to jail for that one. After he gets out.
Or his kids are going to make money off of it or something.
That's true too. But is that a stock that went up? I didn't look. I did not even bother to look. But I have to say though, when it comes to teachers though, even if the student doesn't trust you, I mean, if the teacher says don't eat broken glass, the fucking student isn't going to just fucking do that. You know what I mean? Science dictates.
Yeah, but I could tell a kid, you know, hey, you know, you come in after school, I'll help you out. And they won't do it.
Yeah,
you know, I'll tell them, I need you to come in after school for about 20 minutes because, you know, I can help you get a couple things done, retake some quizzes or something, and get you from a D to a C or from an F to a D. You know, and I don't have to give them those 20 minutes. Usually I'm not paid for those 20 minutes, but I'm offering them the opportunity to come in and get some work in.
I don't think that's applicable to like the president of the United States. I really do think though, to prove you and I right or wrong, I really do want him to say pedophilia is wrong and just see where it goes. Say
something super obvious.
Something obvious, right? I mean, like to say pedophilia is wrong or cancer's bad. I want to say.
He does say obvious things though. He says, you know, this virus will eventually go away. Yeah, you're right. That is something that will eventually go away. But he's talking like me and you. No, me and you know this is eventually going to go away. This is eventually going to be in the past. But we're not in the position to make the decisions to make this fucking thing go away.
I read a headline that said that. It said, he said that it's going away. It was used as a pejorative, though. The headline says that, but then when you read the article, it's a slam against him. How dare he say that because it might be here forever. That kind of thing. Because the WHO did say that.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That
I
who,
mean,
you know what I mean? Like no matter what he says, it's gonna get turned against him because the WHO did say this even before this fucking happened. Even Fauci said this shit's here to stay, and he's right. That's just the way it is. COVID-19 will be here forever. That's that's the new flu. That is here forever. That's the way it's gonna be. And then for him to say, yeah, shit's gonna go away, and what he meant was like this time in our lives
the problem of it is eventually going to go away. Yeah.
headline was used against him as turned out this piece of shit thinks he knows what he's talking about. In reality,
Well, I mean, I'm using it against them as you're the leader of the free world. You can't talk and just hope that it's going to go away just like everybody else.
there's nothing.
He's lived as a civilian, just making money his whole life.
Yeah.
And trusted that, the bigger shit going on over his head was going to be taken care of by a good government, Republican or Democrat. People mostly looking out for themselves, but also trying to keep the system in place because no system, no them, right?
Dude, there's no winning for this guy. He really should step aside. He should retire.
Yeah, he should.
No, because I mean,
I feel better when the fucking homophobic vice president is out there because he sounds measured. He seems like he's deliberately trying to, talk to his people and then come up with some kind of common message and solution and strategy going forward. And Trump just sounds like he's spitballing and covering his ass.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's just saying whatever people tell him. And that's the thing that gets me is when people are like, oh, yeah, he's such a bullshitter. Dude, motherfucker is just saying whatever anyone is telling him because he doesn't give a fuck. And like what happens is people are like, oh, yeah, Trump's saying this. Trump's not saying shit. What you should do is shit on the people who are talking to him.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing. And like, that's it. He's a terrible leader. In the sense,
but the thing is, he does have people that are telling him the right things, and he's ignoring them. So he still bears responsibility, not just for he can't be just like the gullible guy who's repeating shit that people told him, but for picking the people that he's deciding to follow, for picking the messages that he's deciding to propagate.
He picks people. That's one thing, but the people that are telling him shit are literally. And then this is one thing that's to Trump's good. I lost the word, but like good thing for Trump. He picks people that he think is the best. It's not like he's like a terrible person. He's like, what? Who's the best? This? Okay, let's get this guy. And then that guy's talking to him and saying, hey, let's do this. Okay, and then that's what he is. If anything, he's just repeating what other people say. Like you would hope that the leader would hear and take in advice and then just choose what's right and what's wrong. When reality is he's just repeating whatever the fuck everyone else is saying. And he thinks that these are the best people because they probably on paper are the best. And because I don't think this guy is looking at a person and be like, you know what, I'm a good judge of character. This is it. No, he gets a resume. He's like, good to go. That's what I want. Or he's probably got a guy who tells him this is a good guy. And he's just like, I know Carl. Carl's a good guy. He knows what's up. Yeah, this guy, there's nothing there. There's nothing there to be like, I'm a great leader. It's somebody's telling him something and he's just going with it. I'm not saying that he's like a puppet for some fucking shadow government. I'm just saying that he just got people around him and he's making decisions based off of that.
Yeah, but he's picking the people and he's picking the messages.
Oh, I agree. And I think that there's people there that are picking for him in that sense.
No, he's picking.
Dude, no.
He's picking.
Why? How is he picking? Because he's not like magical.
He's deciding, okay, these are the people that kind of sound like the ones that, that sound like my base, and they'll probably get me elected. Look what he did. I am happy to inform all of you people living their suburban lifestyle dream that you will no longer be bothered or financially hurt by having low-income housing built in your neighborhood. Your housing prices will go up based on the market and crime will go down. I have rescinded the Obama-Biden AFFH rule. In other words, he's kind of getting rid of that low-income housing where people could move into affluent neighborhoods because there was low-income parts of it there. He's trying to say that There's no way to have low-income people in your place because low-income people are just going to bring crime.
No. See, you're overthinking it. Put him in a room and ask him if that ever existed. He would not have known that. Would he?
You're right. But he decided to roll with it. He still made the decision to go with it.
Because people were telling him.
But people are telling him the other thing too. People are also telling him, hey man, it is possible for a black family to move into a neighborhood and for the neighborhood to not go to shit.
If I get a black belt telling me one thing and a white belt telling me another, I'm going with the black belt. Only because I don't think
they're both. But there's black belts on both sides.
No, I doubt that. I think that he's going by the resume. I guarantee he's looking at
good resumes on both sides, Kev. The thing is, you're telling me that there's that one side he has fully competent people on a Republican side or a racist side, not Republican necessarily, but racist, because that's where this fucking tweet is coming from. And he has competent people on the other side, and he's just totally deciding to not listen to them.
Dude, I doubt that. I think
he's picking this side because it doesn't jive. This other side doesn't jive with his view. He's making the choice to listen to the shit that's coming from this side and to ignore the shit that's coming from this side. The way he is radicalizing himself.
Your point of view is thinking there's equal sides around him. I think literally he's like, I got a group of people and I'm only listening to them.
He picked those people.
Yeah, based off of other people telling him these are good shit. Okay,
he used to be a Democrat.
I have a good story for you. Okay. So Kim Kardashian with this one, not Kim Kardashian.
Oh yeah.
Not Kim Kardashian. One of the females of the Trumps, his daughter or something like that. They were working. Yeah. There you go, Ivanka. Yeah, there was a writer who came in to write some kind of a thing. Like an autobiography of the Trumps, right? And so she goes through this whole fucking thing about, this is my family, this is what we do, this is what we're all about. This is a writer who's anti-Trump. Okay. So he's like, okay, cool. All right. So he's there to observe. So there's a guy who comes in, this is before he's president. There's a guy who comes in New York, right? And it's some kind of it's some kind of a contract, right? And so Trump's asking questions, right? And he's trying to get the best price. Now, he's not asking questions that are intelligent. He's just trying to get the best deal out of this fucking guy. And they fucking hammer this fucking guy down. And eventually it just didn't work out, and he got rid of the guy. And then so he waited to the next guy came in and gave him the price that he wanted, okay? So the writer's like, this is what I saw, right? So writes it down. That makes him look bad. So the Ivanka, because he has this cabal of people, Ivanka's looking at this fucking thing and says, hey man, this makes us look bad. The guy says, that's what happened. And then then she's like, but I don't think you're understanding what we want you to see. And like trying to point him to a positive light. And the guy's all like, well, I mean, you berated this guy until he fucking gave you the price, but he didn't give you the price. So you got rid of him and got another guy. So he gave you the price, and she's all like, it's not working out. I think this is great, but I don't think we have, you're getting the message. So basically what this guy does is, I want to make myself look good, ego. And everyone around him is all about that kind of image. So it's not like an intelligence thing. It's not intelligence at all. He has no questions, no answers, nothing. He has no intelligence. What he does is like, oh, yeah. All right. I want to look good. Okay. There, do that.
Talk about that.
Yeah, well, I want to do that. The hydrochloroquine wasn't a thing where it was like, I'm going to be smart. No, it's, this fucking guy said that. He made me look good. Let's do this. And then everyone's all like, yeah, that was a good idea. It didn't work out. So, I mean, like, that's who he is. He's the guy who doesn't have any intelligence at all. He just repeats whatever. The people he hires are not even the people that are the best at the job. They're just the ones that make him look good. It's not like he's thinking of anything. And, like, then you got to think to yourself, the people that are around him, are they really... they have to have done something to get to there. like either the best of their field. And so like he doesn't have counterpoints. It's not a counterpoint kind of fucking system. It's one way. So if you have like a guy black belt at fucking, you take hydrochloroquine and then a counter. He doesn't have the counter. He just has whatever makes this guy look good. That's it. That's the way he works. That's it.
He's had people around him that try to give him the alternative views, though. And
But
these are the people
that make him look good. That's the key.
Well, and he got rid of Kelly because Kelly was his chief of staff, that general. Because Kelly kept trying to counter him.
Yeah, that's the point.
And John Bolton looked like John Bolton was also trying to counter him too. That guy's a fucking asshole too. But
that's all he is. All he is whoever makes him look good. And there's something to be said there. It's not like to stay in there with the Wolves, you gotta do something. You gotta be good at something.
I would agree it's to make him look good because again, nobody had an answer and he found something or somebody found something for him that looked like it could be an answer.
Youngest of the Wolves, though, that's the thing. If you had a guy who said, no, I don't think that's going to work, then you had another guy that, oh, I think it's going to work. The two wolves battled, okay? And the wolf that won had to have had something, right? It was, like I said, he doesn't fucking know. What he did was choose who made him look good.
Well, I think he got manipulated, probably. Still don't think he took hydroxy.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's a good leader. I just think he just chooses skewing towards who makes him look good. But the problem with that is who's winning these wars around him. I don't think it's a thing where he's like, you know what, I'm choosing because I'm such a genius. No, it's I'm an idiot. I'm choosing who's the best. And if two people, guy A, who is like an A-type personality, and a guy B, who's a B-type personality, they have the same accolades, I'm choosing A.
Well, I think you're right that he's choosing the people that are going to make him look the best.
I agree.
To his base.
Not even his base. I think it's to what he looks good.
Or to what he thinks is what most of the country wants.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, he's in a bubble. He doesn't really know what most of the country is, right?
I have a strong feeling he doesn't care if he wins or not. He just wants to look good doing it.
Yes. I would agree with that.
In fact, I don't even think he wanted to win. I think he just wanted to look
I would agree with that, too.
And then when people are coming after him, they really should be coming after the people that are around him. Because to win,
because back then he picked really good people around in his campaign. Roger Stone, fucking Paul Manafort,
people.
Who's that other fucker?
But no, there's people who are telling him, like, I seriously, okay, before Roger Stone existed, right? You put him in a room and put a gun to his head and said, and threatened Barron too, his little kid, and say, name a person who's good at this. He would not know. Somebody, not somebody like a shadow government, people around him, he just surrounds himself with people that tell him shit, and he just makes those decisions in the sense that, yeah, well, fucking Bob said this guy's good, so I'm going to pick Bob. That's it. Like, everything he is people around him, and it's just a perpetual loop.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, when you say that he picks people to put around him that make him look good, it's because most of his salesmanship was based on perception. Oh, well, he was able to trick the banks into perceiving him as a success and as a billionaire.
Yeah.
So they gave him money.
Yeah.
And then he flipped that to get magazines to perceive that he was successful because he was able to do all these things, and then he was able to.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, it makes sense, right? I mean,
but that doesn't work in government because it's not sales.
I agree.
Politics is sales. Politics, yes. You want to keep your job, you can do that. But if you actually want to run a country efficiently and successfully, you can't.
I agree. I think it's a thing in which he's trying to run the country like a business, and this experiment as running a country as a business did not work.
Well, you can run the country like a business, but he never had a business where he successfully created a product and sold it aside from his name. So
it's weird.
he
It's not like Apple.
treated it like a licensing business,
Yeah.
which is not.
Well, it's a different product. There's success in a business as, say, a product, but his product is his name. Steve Jobs did the same fucking thing. He created shitty job after shitty thing after
Yes.
thing.
Okay.
Created himself as a good, like he didn't make iPod.
Apple became the thing.
Yeah, it just got there, and like he eventually got there. And same thing with Trump. Trump is doing the same thing. These characters that do this create a certain avenue and then create who they are. The problem is he went for president, and he was trying to run the presidency like Steve Jobs.
Same way, yeah.
Any fucking guy, Henry Ford, any guy who fucking did this would run the same fucking way. And I have to say, we have learned the experience. I hope that we don't create a system and a thought process that it's the person. No. It's the design of it. Any fucking winner, like in industry, would create the same scenario, I think, because Trump is a good innovator. If he hadn't become president, he would have probably created the next thing and then he would be like, oh yeah, see, that's my thing. I'm so smart. Steve Jobs was the same fucking thing. I'm just saying, like, I think the experiment here is this doesn't work. This kind of guy doesn't work. What works is an Obama or a Bush, like the concept of a politician.
Kind of reminds me. I had heard this. I never knew this, right? But I just typed it up right now to kind of confirm it.
I love when you
Albert Einstein,
mm-hmm.
right? Super smart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was offered the presidency of Israel in 1952.
Oh yeah,
but he turned it down.
Okay.
Right? Because he understood, yeah, okay, I'm smart in physics, but I don't know shit about politics. That's not my realm. Running a country is not the thing that I'm good at.
Okay.
And so, Donald Trump, really good at licensing his name, beefing himself up to get people to perceive that he was successful, in a certain way. I mean, yes, he was successful at making people think he was successful, but presidency was a job outside of that realm. Running a country is not the same as running Trump Tower and trying to just get people to pay you money to put your name on their buildings.
I have a theory of this. Like, if this didn't work, the Trump experiment did not work. It just didn't. We know that it's not just Trump. It's the concept of him. It's a guy who created a superior product, and it just fucking fails when he's president. I have a theory. If Steve Jobs was to do this, because he did the same exact thing that Trump did, lied until he made it. He fucking faked it until he made it. This would have been the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
In fact, when you hear stories of Trump, you hear the same stories of Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs changed the fucking world. I think that Trump was supposed to
not through the presidency.
I hope that we learned from this mistake. And when you say Albert Einstein, I have to say that experiment hasn't been played out. Who knows if a scientist, the guy who says, maybe I shouldn't be president, maybe you should. Maybe you're that guy. Maybe you're the guy. Maybe you.
Yeah, the fact that he turned it down, maybe he was the guy.
I think that we should experiment more. I hope that people realize it's not so much as Trump, and that's why this failed. It's not you personify it through a person. What works? What really works? Seems like a politician works. Bush wasn't that bright, but he was. It fucking worked, right? You did 8 years. Obama, he was a politician. It fucking worked, right? In the sense that he did 8 years. I mean, this Trump thing has divided the nation completely, and I think the reason is we're not understanding. We're personifying it. We're taking the man and saying this is what he is, and this is why it's like this. No. We have to understand the type. The type of the person is you fake it till you make it. And it's funny too, because America earned this shit. Because America is fake it till you make it, right? We're capitalists, right? We really have to just kind of fucking kill each other until we get to a place, So, I mean, maybe that is a thing. And hopefully we learn from it. Hopefully someone's listening to our podcast and learns from what we're saying. I think the experiment of Trump did not work. and we will have another Trump if we don't understand that it's not him, it's the type.
Yeah, because it's not. I'm not like anti-Republican. You know, you mentioned Bush. He served 2 terms, and I don't think it's because the country was stupid. I think it was just, you know, he spoke for a bulk of the country. You know,
Yeah. And you know,
Uh,
weird is there was a war. You know, like we elected him after 9/11. So you have to think to yourself,
no, we elected him before and then re-elected him after 9/11.
exactly that's what I'm getting at. We elected
Okay.
him because we were conservative back then. So it kind of worked out. You had Roger Stone back then for him, and then you had what is that guy?
The nation wasn't conservative. It was still split. I mean, Gore won the popular vote, but lost the electoral college. And
That's
it's the same. It's the same thing. You know, this last election, same fucking thing. Democrats won the popular vote, lost the electoral college. So, you know, person for person, pound for pound, I would still say split, right? I'm not gonna say, oh, most of the country's Democrat. No. For
close.
all intents and purposes, we're split down the middle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's why I obviously there's things in the Bush presidency I don't agree with. I have serious problems with.
Well,
But I don't have a problem with the fact that he was president for 2 terms, because that means that there was enough of the country that agreed with the way that he was doing things.
well, he didn't get that second presidency because of virtuous means. I have to say it's because of 9/11. We felt safer with him.
Yeah, Gore. I think Gore probably would have also had the confidence of the people. I can't imagine a different response than what Bush had when we went into Afghanistan.
I felt safer.
But but Iraq.
Well, that was, you know, we history has already figured it out. Dick Cheney, boom, done. You know?
No, even at the time, I was kind of like, I don't know about this one, because the evidence was really thin that there was a link to 9/11.
It's fucking weird. It was like we were fighting Afghanistan, and then we're like, oh, fuck, let's go for Iraq. They're like fucking like this, you know, like, and then people are like, we don't give a fuck. They're all the same back there, but they don't understand the difference between Muslims and shit and Sunnis and whatever the fuck, you know, like.
But when he got reelected, I mean, I was bummed, but at the same time, I was like, okay, he's, you know, enough of the country agreed with his direction. Is maybe something I don't see.
I don't know, man. I'm
going
sorry.
right. But government kept working. Why? Because the Democrats would still talk to the Republicans, more or less, and you still had a lot of that going on. But right now, it's split, and they're far apart, you know, and almost nothing can get done. Fuck, they can't even agree on how to help people right now during COVID-19.
It's getting kind of weird in the sense that, I mean, personally, getting conspiracy theorist as I get older. I mean, 9/11 happens when we elected fucking Bush, right? And then we got this catastrophe that fucking happened in 2020. It's kind of weird, right? You get alien propaganda. I mean, that's a thing that fucking happened. The Pentagon releases info that we found ships that were kind of not of this planet. The Pentagon released information like that
in the middle of this shit.
In the middle of fucking shutting down the country for the first time in recorded history. And there's a guy who got a knee on his neck, and then what sense does it make that people would protest in Japan? You know what I mean? Like, over something that happened in America. Like, it happened in Egypt. I mean, like, fucking what? I mean, it's just weird that this happened on election year. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? 9/11 is a weird thing that happened, and we're still talking about it. We're like, what happened to Building 5? You know, like, to this day. And it just so happens there's all this weird shit that happened with it, and we're like, whatever. And then fast forward to now, and there's all this shit happening. I'm like, fucking aliens? Are you kidding me? That was like the straw for me. I was like, wait. Aliens? That's a thing that you've... Really...
And now Beirut.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's too early. We don't...
Yeah.
Dude, that's too early. We don't know what's up. If there's footage of a fucking spaceship nearby.
Shit, dude. I don't know. When I get off right now, I'm going to start looking at that shit.
Dude, like Commander Faber was this pilot. He's a pretty meat and potatoes guy. You could scour his Facebook. Normal guy, not alien guy. Sees alien, right? And then they release the footage, right? And he doesn't release the footage. It's just something that happened to him. He's not going to tell anybody. He's that guy you be drinking beer with. You want to hear some fucking trippy? Yeah. Okay. That's who he is. This shit comes out, right? They have the footage that is out. And he explains it. He goes, all right, this is what the fuck happened. He literally is saying that this little Tic Tac went like this from 60,000 feet up in the air, and it had no mode of transportation. You drive your car really fast. You know how cars move. So when the words out of your mouth say, well, when the car went straight upward, there's a validity to that. Same thing with pilot guy who is flying around. He's like, this fucking Tic Tac went up in the air 60,000 feet up. It's impossible for a fucking vehicle to move like that because I'm a fucking pilot. That's what I do. And then he goes, and then it went into the water. It's the footage of the recording is just seeing the Tic Tac move all around and shit. But for his verbal account of something that isn't something he reported, it happened. He was just there, and it was done. And then years later, somebody leaked it out, and he was like, "Well, I could explain it, I guess." And Faber's like, "It went into the water, it went out, it fucking moved. There's nothing on Earth that can move like that because I'm the fighter pilot who has to train to destroy things that can do that, And it did that, and I was like, I'm looking around, I'm like, this is real. This is real. Like this isn't a guy making this shit up. Like what he's saying is true, unless he was on LSD. But the problem is like
there's cameras that caught it too.
Cameras that caught it. There's people who observed it other than him. Commander Faber's the only one who explained it. But there's other fucking fighter pilots who said they had their own accounts to it. And like I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Like we literally saw alien. Unless there's here's the scary fucking thing. It has to be an alien, because if it's another country, we're fucked.
Yeah.
If it's China, if there's a fucking China that has a vehicle that doesn't need propulsion and can move up and basically rewrite laws of physics, we're done. There's no beating that.
I think even if it's aliens, we're done.
Well, aliens work like this. We don't know. They can have different motives. They could do anything. If it's China, we're fucked. China has hundreds of years of hating America because we put them in their place. We created a system that put them in their place. Their whole goal and propaganda machine is to destroy us. That's it. That is it. That is it. Russia's the same way. All the countries that fucking hate us, if they have that ability, we're fucking gone. Now, aliens, it works because if they want to put anal probes in us or whatever the fuck, that's good. There's nothing to gain. There's just nothing to gain. Like, if I'm a scientist studying monkeys, there's nothing to gain. They're just, what do I give a shit? I don't care about the political system of this monkey versus that monkey group. I don't care. I'm going to put my fucking tube in its ass and I don't give a shit. That's where we're hoping. So it's probably aliens, if anything. If not, if it belonged to China, we're done. We're speaking Mandarin at this point. or Sokovian or Russian or whatever the fuck.
Sokovian?
I mean, like, fuck it. So, like, when Faber's talking about it and he's explaining this shit in the year 2020, he's explaining this shit. I'm like, well, fuck, aliens exist. I mean, like, unless if it literally is another country, we're done. So it has to be aliens. And if it's aliens, I mean, it means this is what it means.
What if it's us?
It could be us from the future too. I thought that too. I thought that's a theory too. That doesn't matter. But this exists though. That's a thing that exists.
No, I mean, what if it's us today?
You mean like us, like Faber? You mean America?
You accidentally ran into like a super secret part of the Air Force or the Space Force or something.
Why are we fucking mining asteroids and having child slavery? So, okay, we mine cobalt ore from rare earths in Africa, right? And we have child slaves. We've outsourced this shit, right? And we need these materials. We need this copper. We need this fucking cobalt. We need this shit to make our fucking shit work. But here you have a spaceship that can go to the moon and mine that shit. We have a spaceship. I mean, like, to have that capability, well, it means we can mine the moon, we can mine asteroids, we can mine all this shit. We never, ever have to want. We could become a type 2 civilization.
Yeah, honestly, I do think if they're out there, it's us from the future.
There you go.
We're coming back to study ourselves.
Exactly. That's what
if we can go back 300,000 years to study the missing link, we'd do it.
And then this is my thought process. It would be us from the future because we would just do it. And what the fuck can we do? Nothing.
And we would try not to interfere with the timeline, you know.
But then if the timeline works as such, there's aliens or whatever, there's future us, there's nothing we could do about it. We have to go about our days because we can't. You can't stop something that can move 60,000 feet in the air in an instant and go into the water like there's nothing. I mean, you can't stop.
Not yet.
Well, yeah, but there's nothing we can do. No, dude, the science is so far ahead. I mean, you're talking about like understanding the fourth dimension. I mean, like that's not something we can do. That's not, dude. The best thing we can do is fly really fast upward. That's about it. Yeah. We have Elon Musk. We have SpaceX. That's it. We have the Dragons. We barely have a satellite that came back into entry after fucking how many years? 75 years?
Splitting atoms is a big deal too, but
nothing like moving that fast and without propulsion. We don't have that.
I'm gonna check these videos out. How long are they?
Good luck.
Oh fuck.
They're everywhere. Like this is some shit I like. I listen to all podcasts. I watch the videos. It's like audit to audit plus times 10 of a million things. Good luck finding what I'm talking about because there's like, videos that could take you into how the earth is flat, Oh
no, I actually haven't seen the interviews with that fighter pilot.
Commander Faber, done. You're done.
All right.
Faber, done. Commander Faber, done. And he will explain it. And as you hear him, I watched a 3-hour interview with him, right, between him and Joe Rogan. This fucking guy, literally, I mean, like you could only pretend to be somebody for maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe an hour. 3 hours just talking, you're going to let loose a lie. This guy literally was like just a fucking meat and potatoes kind of guy. Like, hey, man, I didn't give a shit. This is some story I just seen, and I've seen some shit too. And it's not something I'm going to report, but I'm like, if we're around a campfire, I'm like, hey, man, I saw some shit with this one guy bunch, man. We saw this fucking thing that moved really fast. And that's what we said. It wasn't a thing we reported or wrote down in our logs because it's stupid. It's just easier just to let this shit happen. Like,
yeah, they'd probably never let us fly again.
Yeah, dude. I'm watching Hawaii and I saw this fucking ship in the space, in the sky. And it was like, and it was really fast. And I was like, did it go around the world or something? I'm like, and I'm walking the pier with a shotgun. I'm like, hey, Bunch, and me and Bunch aren't besties. We're not friends. We're just people who are on watch at late at night. And I'm like, Bunch, are you fucking seeing this fucking thing in the space, in the sky? And he's like, yeah, dude, what is that? I'm like, I've never seen anything move like that. It was like moving super fast. I'm like, maybe it's some kind of high-tech airplane or something. That's what we thought. But it was moving fast and stupid. I was like, oh, aliens exist. I don't know. But that's not something we have to write logs, right? I wasn't gonna write that in a log. Oh, it's all fucking mysterious. Fuck am I gonna do that? I was just like, shit's good. Normal. This is easier to write. You're just, and like,
you don't want to get probed.
Yeah, like they're like, what's this fucking thing you wrote in? I'm like, hey, I saw this fucking crazy fucking thing. I have nothing. I am just a guy with a shotgun walking up here. Same thing with Bunch. Bunch is a guy with a gun. We'll switch places. He's on the pier. I'm wearing a gun on top of the submarine. We're not special. We don't know anything. We just see something in the sky and it goes like, and like I literally saw it go around the horizon and then back again. And I was like, I've never seen that before. And I've heard other Navy people see some shit. And I'm just like, it's just easier not to say it. And Faber is that guy. And Faber is literally the guy who was like, I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't give a shit. I mean, like, that's something that did that. And like he said something that was crazy. He goes, and then when we used active radar on it, it deflected or some shit or something about radar, and it's an act of war. If it's another country, it's considered an act of war. I think he used, I don't know. And it's funny too, because when you're driving, you kind of feel that spatial awareness of other people and cars. You get that mentality of like, this person in this car is thinking this way. Well, pilots have that too.
Yeah.
The vibe of, he says, it noticed us, and then it was playing with us. When he said that, I was like, whoa. Like, as in, like, he's not just saying that to say that. He's a veteran, a guy who's done this thousands of times, where he knows the spatial awareness of this plane or thing. And he goes, this Tic Tac knew we were there. It noticed us. It didn't notice us, and then it did. And then it started doing things. And I was just like, Faber is the fucking truth. So, I mean, aliens exist or us in the future. I have to say, if it's aliens, they think of us as monkeys, or it's probably us in the future, which we recorded history. We don't give a fuck.
We'll probably still see ourselves as primitive.
Yeah, like monkeys. Like that. I mean, to move like that, you have fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional. You know aspects of life that we don't. So you see things differently. So you have to see the plane. You're like, fucking, that there's those monkeys.
Because I hope they still have Marvel movies in.
I think they don't perceive things that like
their movies are interdimensional movies in their brain.
Well, you get the big head, right? Like the head that we have isn't the same head as a Neanderthal,
right?
Yeah. So like maybe the reason their head is like that is because they've evolved in some kind of a dimension that we don't understand. Because there's like more than 4 dimensions.
Well, and then there's the hair thing too. We have less hair than a gorilla. You just keep that pattern going.
Yeah.
Like we also have the same muscle density, at least the natural muscle density as a gorilla, and
not as strong as a gorilla though. Think about it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
weaker, and so like maybe that's why their bodies are frail, is because of like
they don't need to be strong.
They don't. Shit. Do they even need to be in our reality? Maybe there's some kind of an energy thing that uses these mechanical, like a drone. Like I think this is my theory. Aliens that we see with the Greys, those are just drones. They're like actually like, because like, I mean, we got the internet, we got these cell phones. I mean, what's after a cell phone that connects to our brain? What's after that? I mean, it could be a thing we're just in the cloud, and then we just use little robot avatars to do shit. That's my theory.
Be out there, dude.
Okay, so this is the end of Podcastforwe right now. This is the end of the episode. If you like us, please like and subscribe. Share away. If you think what we're saying is too much, fuck you. That's how it works. We did 4 hours. We talked about I wrote about what we wrote about. So we talked about Star Wars, Old Guard. We talked about hydrochloroquine queen, and we talked about Trump. All this shit. We talked about a bunch of shit.
Aliens.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We did talk about aliens.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, I done lost my.
Damn.
Aliens.
4 hours, we could have driven to Vegas.
Dude. Fucking time warp.
Well, I could have driven to Vegas. You could have driven about 1/10 of the way to Vegas.
I could have got to Ohio. That's about it. Hey, man, we just did 3 hours and 52 minutes and 44 seconds. I mean, That's fucking crazy, too, because I wanted to do an hour.
Yeah.
It's 1:50 a.m. Just saying. For me, it's 1:50 a.m. I got to work for 12 fucking hours in about 8 hours. So I got to. So as always, if you like us, subscribe, share, be the better person you were yesterday. Believe in aliens and all that good shit. Mahalo.
Out there.
All right. Did I hit stop? I don't even know. Stop. Yeah. We were stopped. Yeah, we're recording. We're stopping. All right. Cool. We're done. All right.